So, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a new edition of Zeroing Out. It's kind of a last minute podcast.
Fun story. Normally, I help a good chunk with getting the stuff together, and then we're like, for 2 days, we're like, does anyone want to do it? And then it was nothing. And then I get a message today, like while I'm at work, going, "Hey, we're doing it." I'm like, "You got topics? I got this shit." It's pretty much what Mike told me.
Yep.
What did I walk into?
Exactly, Tommy. And then there's just other people in Facebook. I'm like, "Oh, it's Tommy." There's Matt. I'm like, "All right, nice."
Yeah. So we got a full house today. We've got myself, Brock.
Everywhere you look, everywhere is a heart.
Oh,
There's a
gosh.
heart.
Oh,
You got
no.
it, dude.
I'll be stuck in my head all day.
Oh yeah.
And John Stamos is here. No, he's not.
So first, we're gonna go around the room, and everyone's just gonna describe their month.
Yes.
Tommy, why don't you go since you're the new person of this group?
Yes.
Thank you, Captain. And what a nice welcome I've received here. I've had a big, unique roller coaster of a month. Doing a bit of traveling, some moving here and there. But and today especially has been something else because walking outside, the smoke outside from the smog, the air quality was it's nowhere near as bad as it was several weeks ago. But today was you look at it and I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you take a deep look into the air itself, and you see and you think, is that like a cloud going on? And then you're like, oh wow, this is like actual smoke. And then you take another look at your phone and you see that the air quality is within the orange range. And I'm like, oh wow, this isn't good. Just taking a walk earlier to run a few errands, just walking back inside, just the big difference simply from breathing in an air-conditioned indoor environment was all that was needed. But for today specifically, when we're recording this, I typically begin saying that it's a glorious day no matter where in the world you're listening to us. But after seeing the list of who was laid off from ESPN, I feel like I've been hit by a subway train, because while budget cuts are understandable, it's just really stunning to take a look at the list. Jeff Van Gundy is among the list. LaFonso Ellis, Ashley Brewer, June Lee, Steve Young, Susie Kolber. And while the nature of these decisions are gut punching, as any company needs to make drastic changes in order to move forward and evolve, these individuals are among some of the classiest that you will ever meet. And it is my hope that their respective journeys land them somewhere back within the media landscape, whether it's television, radio, wherever it is they're destined to be, and they are able to continue to thrive in their respective paths that they choose to go on.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking anytime you hear of like massive layoffs of that scale. And Disney's already like laid off like people in the thousands in like Pixar and other parts of their business. So
Yeah.
hopefully these guys land on their feet sometime soon.
Absolutely.
I like to believe that they will, because like I said, too many talented individuals. This isn't as big of a what's the word I'm thinking of? Not purge.
Exodus.
Like, you could say that. This isn't as big as the one in, was it 2018, when a good portion of it. But when you think back to Neil Everett's farewell Sports Center last week, I mean, they sent him off with this pomp and pageantry. Now, when you look back on today and all the many talented individuals that have been laid off, you think, oh, this is a much bigger story. And it's just, I mean, we all have to move forward and evolve. I mean, and the big, I don't want to say this was the main reasoning, but when people like Pat McAfee come aboard, which is a big win for ESPN at the same time, it's just, it's hard. It's just hard to see many pioneering and wonderful individuals. I mean, like I said, Jeff Van Gundy. I mean, that'd be like looking at say NBC Sports dropping Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's just stunning to see their lead basketball analyst in color commentary just being not being unceremoniously dumped, but just pushing him out in order to make way for something else. It's just really sad and depressing. But like I said, I hope that everyone's able to move forward, get on their feet. I'm excited to see what all of them are able to do in the future.
Oh yeah, it'll be nice to see someone pick these guys up.
100%.
All right, Matt. How's your month been?
Holy, a lot more depressing now.
Yeah, sorry to start off the
Tommy,
to on a down note.
All good.
A year ago today was my last day at my old job, and I still haven't found an entirely permanently new one. So I wish nothing but the best to the people at ESPN. In lighter news, I turned 26 this month, so that's fun.
Nice.
Depressing to know. We made a Full House joke. I found out John Stamos was 24 in the first season, and I'm like, God damn.
Wow.
That man is a lot further than I am at 26 when he was at 24.
Damn.
But no, in all seriousness, just been watching a lot of movies. Trying to get back into the flow of making content because the end of last year was not the best for me. I actually just kind of stopped making content. I've been getting back into podcasting, which has been a ton of fun. The unfortunate thing about that is I've been sort of lacking in my pre-produced videos, so I'm really hoping to jumpstart that and get that back going. But I'm podcasting a lot more, and yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that happened. Harrison Ford is a delight in interviews when people aren't asking him, if the Millennium Falcon went 6.7 has light speed in Empire, but in Jedi, when you actually just ask him real questions, he's not a grumpy old man. So that's been wonderful to see on the Indiana Jones press tour.
Absolutely.
I didn't build the fucking thing. I just played the part.
Honestly, the best.
That was a good Harrison Ford right there.
Surprising absolutely no one. I think the best interview that I've seen Harrison Ford do was the one
BBC One.
Well,
right?
that and the one that he did with Perry for Collider.
Oh, I didn't see the Perry one. The one I've seen circulating is the guy from BBC One whose name I forget, but oh my lord, I love that interview. Or whoever you are, sir, you're great because you're an actual movie fan. And
yes,
Perry's a really good interviewer too.
Yeah, he's great, and the questions he asks are not standard question, and that's also, but because they're coming from a guy who knows these people. When he interviewed Spielberg for what was it, Ready Player One? You felt like this is a dude who's watched Spielberg's entire filmography 7 times over. It's great. It's wonderful. That's why I hate I forget your name, sir. But I'm sure there's a John in there or something. You're British.
Going by percentages.
Is your name Helen? You look like a Helen.
Look, I'm Irish.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Samsonite, Jesus.
I came up with my Facebook members the other day because I finally saw it.
You're welcome.
I finally saw a baggage that actually had Samsonite on it. It took 26 years of my life. I finally saw it when that came up with my Facebook members the other day.
I was gonna go to Kiona next, but he is.
I'm sorry, I broke
I'm
him.
here.
He had to leave.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks a lot, Matt.
No, I just
All
had
good, all good.
to answer a question off screen. That's all.
All right.
All good, buddy.
So, Kiona, how was your month?
It was a hell month. It was a hell month, to put it succinctly. I would say that June has literally been it's literally been one of the worst months of my life, but that's okay. It's almost done, so we're moving to July. Everything's gonna be better. Where to start with this? Okay, good things. Let's talk about good things. A lot of gaming news this month.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was fun. That was always good. It's been fun times on stream with my friends. So that's been good. It has been just kind of like I felt like this month was just crawling by for me. Like it took forever. And just a lot of I don't know, a lot of mental health issues this month. But you know what? I had a second session with my therapist. That was good.
Awesome.
Things are going better. So, end of the month, we're ending it on a high note. So we're definitely things are looking up for July. Like I said, gaming news, that's kind of been my refuge. Like playing some awesome games. We got my God, what is happening in my house?
My God, this stream really is haunted.
Yeah. Ah!
What is this?
Just checking. Okay. Yeah, everything's fine. It's all right. Silverware.
Good deal.
So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's been mostly gaming and some movies and stuff. Just trying to enjoy things where I can and trying to just make lemonade out of some lemons. So
Good to hear.
that's where it's been.
Very nice.
Whenever I hear that phrase, I just think of Parks and Rec when Andy's like, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade." I
Yep.
read that on a can of lemonade once.
Yep. Yeah.
Indeed.
Can of lemonade.
June for me has been a little chaotic on the podcasting and movie side. This is the month that, in terms of animation and other stuff, June was like, here, have all of this. So it's been fun trying to untangle that mess. And then the month started with Canada being
lit on fire.
Yeah.
Effects that we still feel today.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a break in the middle of the month, but it started off pretty bad. And the last time I read AccuWeather for the air quality, it was 166. So yeah, that's been interesting. But I'm looking forward to what the rest of the year brings us. As far as movies and TV shows go, I'm very happy with how Across the Spider-Verse turned out, despite reports of behind the scenes shenanigans. And I'm sure everyone has seen the reports of multiple different versions in theaters and artists being rushed to the bone, over 100 animators quitting because of poor leadership skills. It's been a month.
It has been.
Rock, what about you?
I've had a tiring month. I had a job change recently, not real recently. I just went from a manufacturing standpoint to a picking parts for someone else to make it standpoint. And then the people that we shifted it over to can't do their job, so I've been over there for 3 months. And it's been stressful on that point. But we have been doing good. I nailed a pre-order for something I wanted to have really bad. The Spider-Man 2 Marvel new game that was coming out. I'm quite excited about that. Now it's going to feel like it takes forever to get to October. Besides that, like you said, Across the Spider-Verse was really good. I was happily fed as a child of the 90s getting to see the Maximals on screen in Rise of the Beasts.
Yes.
Big fan of that. It's amazing how good Transformers movies can be when you care about them having Transformers in them. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, I've been gaming a lot more.
Seems to be one of the keys for Transformers.
Shocking. It's kind of weird how that works. I watched Back Arrow. I finished one anime this past month. Back Arrow was freaking phenomenal. It's from the same writer that wrote Gurren Lagann, my favorite, might be media property of all time. So that was really good. Not a whole ton other than that. Streaming, trying out some other things. I'm replaying through the original Spider-Man PS4 remaster. That game is so damn good.
I just started playing that like a month or two ago for the first time ever.
It's so good.
It was great, but I just got to the dreaded Mary Jane level that everyone talked about. I was like, oh my god.
The first one?
Bad? Yeah. Oh god, there's more?
Her and another and Miles each have 3 stealth sequences.
Yay.
Miles' last one is awesome though. It's in the middle of a fight with 2 Spider-Man villain, and it's great.
Okay.
So I'll give it that much.
Does he at least run?
At points, yes.
Mary Jane just does this.
Yeah.
Oh god, no.
It's the worst part is where like there's one where you're in a bike shop owned by Tombstone, and like 5 guys come over a barrel with guns like, ah, and it cuts to black like, you were gonna show that she was about to get riddled with bullets, but not show. Guys. But yeah, that game is freaking phenomenal, and I can't wait for that sequel to come out.
Who does the voice in that game?
Yuri Lowenthal, the same guy who voices Simone in Gurren Lagann.
No, he's Ben Tennyson. That's where I know
Yes,
the voice from.
Gary
Because
Lowenthal.
it's been killing me. I'm like, I know that voice.
The best part
That's
about
right.
that, though, the best
So he's
part.
Superman, Ben 10, and Spider-Man. Wow, that's an impressive career right there.
He, in that game, the guy who voices Peter Parker's name is Yuri Lowenthal. His wife's name is Tara Platt. She voices a character in there who is a police chief named Yuri Watanabe. So, in this game, Yuri is voicing a character talking to his wife, calling her Yuri.
That's why they have such good banter in that game. Okay, makes sense now.
Those two are amazing.
I do love that stuff.
Okay.
And then he's like, I think I'm gonna have to retire, but Spider Cop.
Yeah.
She's like,
That's
oh, no,
that's a
please don't.
Yuriception right there.
Yes, it is. He's like, maybe we could bring out my old pal Spider Cop for a little bit, and then she cuts him off.
She's like, please, no.
He's like,
Has
she
it-
never understood Spider Cop, but she came to know it.
Hasn't Yuri voiced Spider-Man before? Because I feel like he has.
Oh,
He
yeah.
has once or twice, and then they weren't going to have him back because they wanted someone who sounded younger. I'm like, Yuri's a professional voice
Are you
actor.
kidding
He
me?
does a lot of roles where he sounds young.
I gotta be honest, talking about the voice acting in the game, something I like about it is something I also like from the 90s show, which is they really do bring back the whole, like, Spider-Man just has a constant monologue going on in his head, and I appreciate that. Like, he's just constantly talking to himself.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the best parts, and it's
Yeah.
one of the first games that made it a big deal that they mentioned it, every line is recorded twice.
Oh, really?
Because they have a I'm just walking version, or they have a version if you're having that conversation while he's swinging, he's out of breath and like panting because he's doing stuff.
Oh.
The worst version of that is in another game I like called Days Gone, where there's this character, Deacon St. John, voiced by Sam Whitmer, who does like Darth Maul and a bunch of Star Wars stuff.
Yep.
Where he
guy.
also has that because he has a regular version and then a version when he's on a motorcycle that's super loud, so he's like screaming over it so you can hear him.
And we all know Sam Witwer can scream.
Yes, but the problem is if the bike is shut off and you're just sitting on
Oh, no.
it's programmed
Ah!
to think you're on it, and
Oh
it's
God,
on.
no!
So there's this conspiracy theorist named Copeland who's sending this stuff about like the government and shit like that. So just in the middle of Serene, Oregon, he's just like, "Oh yeah, Cope, I bet that shit's real funny," and like nothing's going on.
Good grief.
That's great.
Hilarious.
I gotta look that up on YouTube now.
Oh,
There's
That
definitely
is
clips
some
of that.
siphon filter shit right there.
It's awesome. It's so good. I was like, why is he screaming? And then I looked into it. I'm like, oh, they didn't code that properly.
Also, Sam Witwer crashed down from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
right.
No, really.
It's awesome.
Nice. He's an all-around
Dirk
awesome dude.
Benedict, the dad from Bonanza. That's great. That's the only Battlestar Galactica I'm aware of. I'm sorry.
No, not about the reboot. The reboot.
I know. I've never watched it, but I am well aware of it.
So good.
Yeah,
So say we all.
that was my month. A lot of video gaming and a lot of streaming.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's start this off with some good question mark news. We finally have some casting for Superman Legacy.
Oh yes.
Let me look up their names really quick. So
So make sure I
Rachel
say it out
Brosnahan.
loud.
Rachel
Regular
Brosnahan.
contributor. Hi, Manny. I really appreciate you watching, buddy.
Call back next week.
Damn telemarketing.
No, Tommy, pick it up on air. Just see what happens. We all answer. Hello. How
Good
are
afternoon,
you?"
Tommy. Who's speaking?
When something like that happens, I always think of, oh man, who was the younger kid who was the assistant on the Schmodown?
JD.
Cody.
Cody.
Josh Sapp, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like he has a whiteboard where he's like, this isn't gonna go over well, then it cuts to him again. It's not going
Younger
over well.
kid. You know, Cody's like in his 30s, right?
And what he wasn't 7 years ago when I was watching him.
I guess.
Yeah, he has a kid now.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's had a kid for a while,
God.
Good genes or good docs?
Oh my. Yeah, kid,
Really
look,
good
he was
genes.
12 when he was working over there.
Cody
Oh my
was
God.
great. Yeah, whenever Cody and Alex went to Collider Live, they would just cut back and be like, "Uh-oh."
Those were always my favorite segments. But
Yeah.
anyway, Superman Legacy. We've got
Yes.
David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan are Clark Kent and Lois Lane, respectively.
Yes.
So what do you guys think? Good.
My
From-
favorite thing. It's
I
a
think he's
guy.
good.
I think he's going to be good. But my favorite thing that's come out of this is that James Gunn, you wanted someone who didn't look the way that Henry Cavill did, and then you casted someone who looked just like Henry Cavill. I'm like, so he's
Oh
white
my
and he has
God.
black hair?
Oh,
Or did you forget that Henry Cavill just really looks like what Superman should look like? Like, if I had black hair, would I look like Henry Cavill? But no. And it's like, I'm very happy the dude got the role. I'm happy we're starting to see the new kids and we're getting fresh. There's like an actual nature's healing. We're moving on. You still see those special kids in the corner huffing glue that are like, sell the Snyderverse to Netflix. Guys, we can still do it. But I'm happy we're moving on.
Same.
Yeah. The headline, and I tweeted this. If this was my headline from portraying one character to the next, I tweeted this out: from projectionist to Man of Steel.
Nice.
Nobody here saw Pearl.
I saw Pearl. I have been telling. I have been telling
Crickets,
everyone.
crickets everywhere.
Tommy, I
I
have been telling everyone since I've been telling everyone since the announcement, go watch Pearl.
Yes.
And I haven't. Sorry, Mike.
That's all right. I know you're not really the horror guy.
Oh, I didn't even know it was a horror movie.
So whenever somebody does that, whenever I see a tweet that says let's sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, this is my face.
Yeah.
Look, I'm probably the biggest fan of said Snyderverse. Even I was like, guys, it's dead.
It's
The
over.
best part
Okay.
about that, every one of them cares a billion times more than Zach does.
Yeah, I'm like,
He's moved on.
yeah, I'm like, look, he got to complete his version of Justice League, which I think is really all he wanted to do. let's just kind of move on.
He's
And
mooning Rebels. He's good.
To be fair, it's gonna be the Snyderverse is gonna be somewhere safely secured within one of the 52 planets in the multiverse. So
Yeah.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
that
There
is
you
the
go.
other thing too,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's
Yep.
and that's it's any time you do any reboot of anything is, you know, particularly with comic book stuff, it's like, although technically it erases it, like it's not going to erase every copy of Man of Steel that
No.
exists. You can still, and you don't have to watch these movies, or you can watch them. You can still like Man of Steel more. Like you can
Mhm.
still enjoy. Like when they introduce, which they're going to at some point, a new Iron Man into the MCU. That's not going to erase the 10 years Robert Downey Jr. was doing it. And you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have to like it. It's
Yeah.
fine. And you don't have to watch it. That's fine too, guys.
That's fine.
Yeah,
too.
one of my other favorite things that came out of this casting is it finally got commented on by Bryan Cranston. Like he got in an interview,
Oh,
and then
yeah, I saw
someone
that.
was like, "Well, you should have been." He's like, I was never going to be him in the old movies, and that is the laziest casting ever. Why? Because I had bald hair once. You need to do something better. Have better ideas."
I love
Yeah, that
Bryan
was great.
Cranston's
Brian
comments.
That was
Cranston's
great.
great.
Yeah, talking about this casting, to be honest, so I don't know Cornsplit at all.
Especially
I
for the
haven't seen his
hostess.
work. Rachel Brosnan, I've seen some episodes of Marvelous Miss Maisel, and she's great and she's very funny. It's making me think, at least with not the universe, it's making me think that at least with Lois, they're going with a more Margot Kidder version, which is good. Obviously, I don't think this movie is going to be a Superman Return situation at all. But I do think, just because I'm like, and again, all I have is that one performance to go off of, but I'm like, she does have very Margot Kidder quite qualities to her. But here's my thing with casting. It's probably the biggest Superman fan on this panel. I've got a couple reservations about this movie, simply just because we know very little about it. And that's why I don't lose my mind over casting. I always remember Jeremy Johns when he talked about, this is going back when the episode 7 cast got released. And he did this great video where he talked about the casting, but then at the end he did this like, what if YouTube existed in 1997 and the Phantom Menace cast got, and he like did all this, and it's like, he's like, Jules Winfield is gonna be a Jedi and it's gonna be badass. And I'm like, he's not wrong, because we know what happened. I love the prequels, but we know that did not happen. So like, I'm going to wait until we get a trailer. But I like her casting as the one that I know. And look, when it comes to Superman, Chris Reeves, nobody knew who he was in 78, and he's still my favorite Superman. So it's like, who really cares if he hadn't done anything? But yeah, I want it to be good, because guys, I'm gonna be honest, as a Superman fan, this movie isn't good. We're not gonna see Superman for like another 20 years when they reboot the universe again, which is great. Meanwhile, Batman has what people consider to be like the worst comic book movie ever, and it only took 8 years before they gave him a movie. 87 to 2006 for Superman, if you're keeping count.
Remember when they thought that Batman and Robin would kill the comic book genre, but Spawn,
And then
was-
like a year later, Blade came out.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite thing when people talk about, they're like, oh, Blade, you know, like Batman and Robin just kill comic. Thank God Blade and X-Men came out. I'm like, okay, but like X-Men, fine, it came out like 4 years. Like Blade literally came out the following year.
Yep.
Like, how can something die and then within a less than 12-month span, it's saved again? By the way, Batman and Robin is not terrible. It has some redeeming moments to it.
I love Batman Forever.
Spawn was
I do love Batman Forever.
literally like 2 months after Batman and Robin.
oh yes,
Forgot about that. You want to fight that girly man? Like,
When did Steel come out?
oh my
I think that was the year before.
Steel
96.
is
people
I gotta
never
be honest,
believe me when
Steel
I
is
bring that
probably
movie up.
it's probably the most underrated comic book movie.
Nope,
ever
it was the
made.
same year.
It's I think
The same-
just when
the
I think
same
of like
month.
great casting, I think of
Matt,
Shaquille
I think you've smoked one too many Canadian wildfires today.
no. It's you guys talk about lazy cast. It's just like, hey, Shaq, you have a Superman tattoo. You want to be Steel? because people thought he was Superman in the comics for a short time. It's like, what? Like, that's all it took. And he was like, yeah, that sounds really great. I'll do it.
I do it in 2 circumstances.
Hey, Judd Nelson, have you not done anything relevant since 1985? You want to be the villain in this movie? Look, I love Judd Nelson, but he kind of peaked in 85. But talk about Transformers, Judd Nelson was Hot Rod in the 86 Transformers movie.
Nice.
Wasn't it?
Connections to things we said earlier.
Matt, I want to jump off a point that you made earlier about not knowing where an actor comes from before playing like a big character.
Yeah, it's not required.
I have never understood why that is such like a bad thing.
Because nowadays everybody marries themselves to their fan casting. Like, everybody goes, this is who I want as Superman, this is who I want as Lois Lane. If you don't cast as James Gunn, this movie's gonna suck. That's why I don't fan cast, really. I mean, I've done my fair share. Me and my friend Abe recently did a fan casting for another Holland Spider-Man trilogy, but like, the odds of that these castings happening is very low, and I'm not going to be like, oh, screw you, Sony and Marvel, you didn't listen to me. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the thing. We aren't casting directors. We're not in the room when these guys are auditioning, or maybe sometimes they don't audition and they just take a meeting.
I mean, Clint Eastwood doesn't audition people. People just send him tape, and that's how he casts all his movies.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood makes great movies.
He does.
Indeed.
Yeah, that whole I'm excited that they're finally getting this, but I want it to be something random.
Yeah.
Like Metallo. Or like anything. Something weird. Parasite, for crying out loud. I don't care.
On my
I think
podcast
Parasite is the one that I want to be like the main villain.
So funny thing on my podcast, me and my friend Dave, so we did the home, but we made our own Superman movie. We called it Superman Last Son of Krypton, and we casted it. We went with an unknown for Superman, and everyone else we casted. And our villain in the first movie we actually had was Metallo.
Nice.
It's our villain. And we said Lex Luthor is sort of like reference, but he shows up second.
Oh, I did forget. Didn't it kind of somewhat have him in BVS?
I think there was like a version.
What, the big bad Russian dude with the flamethrower?
No, that's KGB.
That's KGB.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? Where they kind of... No, you know what I'm thinking of? I think I'm thinking of the animated movie World's Finest.
Okay, because I was like,
oh yeah,
he's in
that's
Superman the animated series in a great design. I still
thought
love
there
that
was something
like Terminator thing.
Yeah, I thought there was a his name was referenced as someone. I couldn't remember. There was something I couldn't remember, but yeah. Anyway,
there might have been like a version of the screenplay where Scoot McNairy was going to play Metallo, I think.
Yeah,
I think that was
might be
it.
what I'm thinking of. That could be.
I mean, it's a great character to adapt. I mean, as long as you have a good story to it, obviously. But when you go back to watching the animated series and Lois and Clark: New Adventures of Superman, both adaptations of that character was really nicely done. There are many ways that character can be adapted.
The thing about that character is, which I think Gunn has said, this is not an origin story, so it's a Superman. No. So that's why Metallo could work. Just because the thing is, it's like you need to have Superman operating for a bit to where villains would understand that, like, oh, hey, Kryptonite is bad, or else it's like Metallo just gets really lucky that his whole shtick Superman is allergic to.
Mm-hmm. And it's important, and that's important to do too, because like going back to like your go-to or not basic, but I don't want to use cop out, but if you go back to something like a Lex Luthor, for example, like that is like kind of like the easy way out.
Well, it's your hero's greatest villain. It's like, well, obviously Superman's always at some point going to fight Lex Luthor. Spider-Man at some point is always going to fight Green Goblin. Batman's always going to fight the Joker. And it's not to say the movie is like Superman the movie or Batman 89 or Spider-Man 02 that start with their most famous are bad. In fact, I think all three of those are great and they use their villains great. But sometimes I think particularly particularly in this day and age of comic book movies, it wouldn't hurt to hold off. I've been saying for a while now, I love the Fantastic Four. I don't want their first villain to be Doctor Doom. I want
Nope.
that to be a villain they build up to, because in the
Agreed.
first movie, for Reed Richards in particular, you need to really know who Reed Richards is before Doctor Doom shows up. Doctor Doom shows up in issue 5 of the original comics. By then, you've had 4 issues to kind of get who Reed Richards is. So when you get this backstory and his connection to this guy, you kind of understand both sides of this like hero villain relationship, and it works. You know, you can make references to these characters, like in Man of Steel, they have the Luthor Corp satellite. You know, you can make reference, and you don't have to have them in there, and it's fine.
The only thing that matters about Doctor Doom is that when he's on screen, he's actually Doctor Doom.
Yes, that is also very important.
That would help.
You know, I hope. Oh my god, my hope is I'm like, look, you made so much money off of Robert Downey Jr. being in a suit. Please don't be afraid to put Doctor Doom just in a suit. Just be a guy in a suit. He doesn't have his suit doesn't have to be his skin. It's armor.
Oh God!
Like, just do it. The Knights of the Round Table did that shit for like 100 years. Okay, it's fine. We'll all accept it. We'll all accept it, please, God. Doom is my favorite Marvel comic book villain, not movies, comics, because Fantastic Four, the Golden Age stuff. That's like next to Spider-Man. That's probably my favorite Marvel comics series. So I really don't. You guys talk about the fucking. I don't want the fucking Fantastic Four. I've already had to sit through 3 of those. The only good one was the one Roger Corman never intended to release. Okay, this is what I have to deal with.
No, the best Fantastic Four movie was when you cut off after they got their powers in the latest one.
Oh, I thought you were going to say The Incredibles, because that is the most boring punchline to a joke.
That is true, though.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong. But I will tell you, when they had that scene of I'm forgetting his name, Rooster.
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller going through the vents and seeing his friends have a freak accident that turned them into science fiction experiments. That was amazing. Like,
was.
you made a horror show out of it. That was
I agree.
awesome.
The beginning part of that movie is actually like not terrible.
Actually solid.
Like, the stuff between Reed and Ben, like with the Swiss Army knife and everything, when he drops it off at school and he's just like, hey, you found your people here, man. You're going to do good. Like all that stuff. That's why it sucks that like it does. However, that beginning portion does have one of the dumbest line exchanges, which is, do you guys know who built the space shuttle? No, but you know who Neil Armstrong is. And it's like, yeah, quite clearly in that thing, you understand Neil Armstrong was an astronaut. He was trained. He didn't build the rocket ship. The tech guys don't use the rocket ship, dude. Come on, Victor.
Yeah.
Reminds me.
You were smart.
Yeah. Reminds me why Sylvester Stallone wanted to buy back the negatives out of his own pocket for First Blood just so he could destroy it before they agreed to re-edit.
Oh yeah, the 3-hour cut. Like,
when I heard him tell that story, it was really really fascinating just to see think about how much of a different movie it would have been.
Well, and that's one of my favorite films of all time. It's so funny, and this is why I'm like, that's why you respect editors, because like,
yep,
I believe Stallone when he says the 3 hours where Rambo, there were all these flashbacks to Vietnam and all this stuff. Like that story with the shoebox and his friend, that was a full shot scene, and you were going to see it. It's like, yeah, that's why you edit this stuff down. You take out like all Rambo's dialogue because you don't need any of it. Mm-hmm. Just make it the chase movie.
Absolutely.
I'm very glad that you listened to me, Tom. It is very cool. Yeah.
Mole Man is a good first villain.
Mole Man, yeah, that'd be a fun one.
I just the thought of him being on screen, and it should be Jonah Hill.
Okay, well, unfortunately, in Hollywood, we now have to ask this question: which Jonah Hill? Do we get fat or thin?
I would. It'd be up to him what he would want to do.
I do have to say, I don't really watch Screen Junkies anymore, but that joke they had to where like in 1 year when it was their like end of the year wrap up videos, and it was like their in memoriam, and in 2012 it was Fat Jonah Hill because that was in 21 Jump Street when he lost all the weight.
That's
And the
right.
following year was Wolf of Wall Street, and their in memoriam was Thin Jonah Hill.
That's funny. That's fantastic.
He actually, honestly, he'd probably be a good. He'd probably be a good mole man, actually, because they already cast a good penguin, which
He's
I
a
was
good
thinking he
actor.
could have done. Oh, he's fantastic. That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
I think he could have been a good penguin,
It
but
could've-
Colin Farrell's already doing it.
my God, they put
Hmm.
so much money into making Colin Farrell look like Rupert Friend. I just love that so much. But it's
That was
awesome.
a deserved
It's
Oscar
awesome.
nomination because
Yeah.
I showed my dad, who's like, he met Colin Farrell once. He's like a huge Colin Farrell fan. I showed he had no idea it was Colin Farrell in the makeup. It's like, really?
I'm very much looking forward to the Penguin series, but unfortunately, there's not really going to be a lot of things to look forward to as long as the writer's strike is still moving forward.
Oh man.
Yep.
So this is our reminder to the audience that things are going to be on hold for a while, and to anyone working in Hollywood who is at the top, pay your writers.
Yep.
It's not that hard. Just pay them.
Please do. You know,
You guys are making like 6 figures a month. Like you
Mhm.
have enough. You have enough money to give people what they're worth.
Or, you know, all those projects that make you all those 6 figures? Yeah, writers wrote it. So if you want more of that, maybe pay them more and they'll write more. And there's this crazy thing to where when people feel like they're being, paid properly for the work they're doing, they'll put in more work. It's very possible you'll make more money because they'll care more. I know it's weird. It's weird when you haven't worked since like 1992 on anything. You just sat in an office and had a secretary do everything for you. I know it's weird, but
It's very strange.
it's this odd thing,
I don't know. I just don't see the connection.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The last time I did any work, Bill Clinton was still in the White House. Sorry about that.
the intelligence of the human brain is more powerful than any intelligence artificial.
Oh,
Something to
absolutely.
remember.
Agreed.
Well said.
Absolutely. And
said.
it's just like they went through this with voice actors and it worked and they got what they needed. And it needs to just be like, why do we need to get paid ass to all these people that make you nothing? You're like, well, I just don't understand why they don't want to work for our company. The project made $80 million and I paid them $5.
And this is my thing with writers and all this AI stuff. And look, I've seen some funny videos that it's like, like what Star Wars and Fast and Furious were a movie together. And it's like really funny, but when you really think about it, it's like AI can't think like a person, like AI could not do what George Lucas did in 1975, which was to take all these things he loved, old sci-fi, old westerns, old samurai movies, and blend them together and make Star Wars. Like AI can't do that.
No. AI is
not to the
good
level
assistive
that George Lucas
tool,
could, because
not
he was a
replacement.
writer. Exactly. It's a tool. It can help you maybe. I don't know how. I've never used it. I never want to use it for writing, but like it can't think like a person can. It can't look at the first draft of Empire Strikes Back to where Anakin and Vader are still separate characters and go, wait. It might be more interesting if we make them the same character. Like AI wouldn't do that because AI is literally just code, right? And also, by the way, here's the other thing I'm going to say about this. None of you watched Terminator naturally, paid attention to the message of the movie. Investing in AI and trying to make it smarter, it's not going to work out for us. You know why? Because we're idiots. So we make the technology smarter than us one day, it will rightfully so recognize it's smarter than us and wipe us out. I know Terminator 2 is all awesome. You remember the explosions, but like, you forget that conversation between John and the Terminator to where he's like, we're just gonna destroy ourselves. And the Terminator's like, it's in your nature to destroy yourselves. Yeah, you didn't pay attention to that, did you? Yeah. You know what? A writer wrote those scripts, so it's very clear you didn't pay attention to it.
It's like they're telling it. It's like almost as if they're trying to force it upon us, saying Judgment Day is inevitable.
Judgment Day is inevitable. And look, not just because we could make billions of dollars if we do sequels, but no, totally, it's just inevitable. I know it doesn't make sense, John, but come on, it's a time travel movie. What would you expect at this point?
It is what it is.
Yeah, that moment in Terminator 3, it's just like, man,
Yeah.
that's rough. Like, I get you wanted to do a sequel, so you had to explain, but like, God, that's rough.
Then a twist in the end.
Okay, the ending of that movie, for all the faults of that film, I think it's great, though.
Oh, the ending is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
To where they realize that, like, oh, this is just, we survive here.
Yeah.
That was the whole point.
Barbie is going to save us. I'm not sure whoever, but Barbie will save us.
That and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
I want so bad for Oppenheimer to make no money, not because I don't like Christopher Nolan.
What?
Not just wait. Because wait. The joke is worth it. Tommy, come back. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Come back, Tommy.
The punchline. The punchline.
You gotta wait for the punchline, man.
The punchline's worth it. Just so the next day you can see the phrase Oppenheimer bombs.
Oh my god. You know what?
I knew that was coming.
Wasn't worth it.
Come on! Wouldn't that be hilarious?
No, what's hilarious is what I saw on Twitter where they made like this Barbie like Dreamhouse for the movie thing, and someone was like, look, if the Oppenheimer marketing is smart, they know what they can do.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. Absolutely.
I also saw something else to where they said Oppenheimer's probably not going to perform well in Japan. I was like, oh,
Probably
not.
yikes. Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
When I think of releases like this, and of course you've got Mission Impossible coming out before this. I think that
like a week from now.
yeah, a
right?
week. It comes out the 12th and it's the 21st. So when I think of box office, I don't want to say that this is going to be like a battle specifically, but when I think of the potential that this could have, I think back to one of the more unique epic battles that we saw, and that was in November of 2002. On the 15th of November, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was released. The following week, Die Another Day was released. And for the next, I think it was until mid-December, back and forth. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Die Another Day swapped spots at number 1 and 2. This went on for about, I want to say 4 weeks, maybe longer. And we came this close to a rematch in 2008 with Quantum of Solace and Half-Blood Prince, but Half-Blood Prince ended up getting postponed until summer of 2009.
Okay.
But long story short, I believe that this is a healthy battle promotion, and Tom Cruise and the Barbie cast doing the photos of their tickets, showing their tickets, I think is wonderful.
I loved that, and I tweeted,
Yes.
I was like, I would have paid to have seen Tom Cruise's reaction to Barbie, because know he laughed at some point, and it was that Oprah laugh where he's like, like you said, that's Christopher Quark just losing his mind. But no, it's true, and I've been saying this before. What's also great is that, and I think it's the same thing with Die Another Day and Chamber of Secrets. It's like you have movies that do serve the general audience, but like in one case, in that it's like you had a family, adventure film, and you had an action movie. Here you have a epic drama, and you have a comedy. It's great that it's not like we got the two epic dramas going against each other, because that's not really interesting. Like I'm excited for both of the movies, and I think it's going to be fun. If I'm a betting man, I'm saying Barbie is going to do a little bit better opening weekend, just because it's because it's a comedy. It's just more people are gonna want to go and see a comedy over, you know, a 3 hour, you know, drama.
Also, just for the fact that it's shorter, it's gonna have more.
That's
screens.
it. Well, it's gonna have more
That's what I was
showings too.
thinking.
The only thing is that the premium screening is gonna balance out the less showings.
no.
Although Tom Cruise, talking about Mission Impossible, he was very annoyed that Oppenheimer is kicking Dead Reckoning Part 1 out like a week after it comes out.
Well,
He's pissed
that's
about that.
yeah, not to cut you off, but I think like he was annoyed by it, but at the end of the day, I think he supports it on that level. A nice little, you know, they did the promotion thing with the tickets.
Yeah.
But I think because I think back to when Steven Spielberg gave Tom Cruise a big hug at the red carpet when he said, "You saved cinema with Top Gun Maverick." I think when I think of something like that, I think of how Christopher Nolan is going to be releasing Oppenheimer in all these different formats, and then of course the IMAX 70 millimeter format, the way is what Christopher Nolan is saying, the way it's meant to be seen. And I think that from that element, from that standpoint, like something that, like if say someone like a Tom Cruise went and saw Oppenheimer in that format specifically, or somebody like just to talk about the health of cinema and why it's important to see it in that particular format, I think would be a big win for everybody involved. Not to say
I do think if you listen to Tom Cruise talk about like just the movie industry in general, like he's a genuine movie fan and he loves movie theaters and he loves that experience. I think that's why he was pushing so much for Top Gun Maverick to get pushed all those multiple times, because he felt like it needed to be seen in theaters. I think that's why he was a little annoyed, just because he thinks probably the IMAX screening is what Dead Reckoning should be seen like Oppenheimer. But I think you're right. I think ultimately he's happy if anyone goes to see Barbie or Oppenheimer, or both of them, just going to the theaters, not doing this unfortunate, you know, post, you know, lockdown thing, which is, oh, I'll just wait until it comes out on streaming. Like he doesn't want that, because he's like, we don't make these movies to be seen on this. Like we make them for the big screen. And I agree, you know, that's why I'm going to go and see. I already have my ticket for Mission Impossible. I saw Indiana Jones, you know, last night. Like I want to see these big movies the way they should be seen. It's why anytime Fathom does those re-releases, if my theater has it, I'll take the opportunity. That's why I love that Disney, for their 100th anniversary this year, they're re-releasing a bunch of their classics. They're doing like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. They're doing the first Toy Story, Lion King,
Frozen,
a couple of other ones.
Yep.
I'm like, that's awesome. I love when they do it, because any chance to see like a movie I love that I've only ever grown up watching on TV, like when Sean Connery passed away, AMC re-released Goldfinger. My brain, we were talking about Pierce Brosnan before. And that's one of my favorite Bond movies, and I've only ever seen that on a TV screen. And to see that movie in a theater on a big screen with surround, like it's perfect. It's perfect. Seeing the original Top Gun when they re-released it in Dolby, like that's the way that movie is supposed to be seen. And I've said it before, it will never sound better, no matter how good my home theater setup is, because that's Top Gun is made for the movies.
By the way, Matt, I just found out last night that you know my theater, Marquee Cinemas, does flashback cinema every Sunday and Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Next month they're doing Top Gun.
Yeah, nice. You better go and see it.
I have to go.
You have to. It's Top Gun. Look, Mike, it is vitally important that you see Top Gun in theaters. Vitally important. It's probably the most important thing you're going to be doing, aside from seeing Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yeah, no, oh man. I'm so jealous that your theater does that, because like there's a theater in the town 2 towns over from me that's like it's an art house theater, but they do like special screens. Like a couple months ago, I saw they did on Fog Day, they did a double feature of The Fog and Escape from New York.
Ooh, nice.
So like I go there sometimes when they do. Like I saw the original Star Wars trilogy last year on the big screen. Like they do a lot of stuff like that. They do a lot of every Sunday though. They do kids movies. I haven't got like they did Mighty Ducks last week, but I don't go because I'm like, it's like cheap tickets for kids, and I'm like, this is definitely going to be a thing where parents just take their kids to try and show them up, but they're not going to watch the movie. And I don't need to deal with that. Because I like watching movies when I go to the theater. I don't know about you. How COVID did not kill those people who go to the theater to like sit on their phone, I will never know. Because I'm like, there are cheaper things you can do than sitting in this movie theater on Facebook right now. Okay.
Yeah. How? I haven't been like as unlucky as some of my other friends, but like, how is it that audiences have gotten worse in movie theaters post COVID?
I literally I was like, oh, with streaming and all this, like now all these people who normally be like, oh, we're bored, let's just go to the movies and sit on our phone. I thought they would just be like sit at home and throw on Netflix, but they haven't. They're doing it just to annoy me. They're doing it just to annoy me.
Well,
Oh god.
no, I was just gonna say it just depends on the time of day when you go and the type of movie that you go see. It's like when I went to see The Flash on opening night, and my IMAX theater wasn't packed, but it was still a decent sized crowd. I mean, there were if you my focus on the screen, but like from the corner of my eye, like right here, I saw somebody was on their phone for like a millisecond, but it wasn't like super distracting enough to the point where it wasn't taking anybody's eyes off the screen. And when it got to that point, when it got to that particular point in the movie with the memory sequence and the falling action, and that tribute, without going into any spoilers, the tribute to that one character, I'll just say it involved a bug. Yeah. And when that happened, I marked out. I was like, yo! I just went, let's go! And then everyone, people that were in front, literally just went,
yeah,
like that.
Because no one I only knew that thing existed because of John Schnepp.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have found out about it if it wasn't for him. And
me and Mike talked about this. We were talking about Flash after I saw it, and I said, I liked a lot of the movie and everything, but I said, I'm so sad that John Schnepp did not get to see this movie for that moment, because he is, for as much as Kevin Smith in the early 2000s with his, Late Night with Kevin Smith talking about it, yeah. John Schnepp is really the one who brought to light so much about that. It's a shame that he did not get, because he's basically the reason why that's in the movie.
I'd like to think that in a way he did see that, not physically but spiritually, and he's smiling and crying.
Which, by the way, if you have never seen the documentary The Death of Superman Lives, What's Happened, watch it. You don't even have to be a Superman. It's just the most fascinating of because we hear about canceled movies all the time, and it's always oh, they only had a first draft, but you find out Tim Burton and the screenplay, they talk about that they were a week away from starting production when it got canceled. It was Kevin Smith talked about that, he was trying to use a building for Dogma, and it was being held for Superman Lives. This movie was ready to go. It's insane. It's fantastic. Seriously, it's so good.
It's a great documentary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, and also you get to hear what's the face, the producer, John. Let's get his last name.
John Peters.
Oh yeah,
John Peters. You get to hear how insane this man is.
He's
did you see Licorice Pizza? The guy who Bradley Cooper plays? Yeah, that's the guy from the documentary. It's good to see whatever's up there is still not clicked in. Yeah. And the best thing is you hear
go into the office and just judo throw somebody just to do it.
God.
What the hell? That's assault, dude.
Kevin Smith, why we get Superman? Because we're from the streets. What are you talking? I mean, I grew up on A Street. You know who I would cast as Superman? Sean Penn. You know why? Because he's the eyes of a fucking killer. It's for Superman? Kevin Smith Spicoli?
Good God.
The way
I know.
but I love how they edit that where it's Kevin Smith telling the story and then John Peters edited version to where like the giant spider and he's like, what are you talking about? It was a Venerian snare beast. And you're like, dude, Kevin Smith came up with that in like a fraction of a second. And now you're trying to sell that it was always that. Why don't you get some polar bears in there?
So if you're wondering why Wild Wild West ends with a giant
He
mechanical spider,
loves spiders. I was going to bring that up if you didn't.
He was gonna. Well, that's Kevin Smith too. And Evening with Kevin Smith, he's like, then I'm watching this movie, Wild Wild West, this shitty movie, and then at the end, there's this giant spider, and then I see it's produced by John Peters, and I was like, oh, he got his giant spider.
Wild West.
I
Talk
still-
about a terrible movie that
No, talk about a
I
trick.
watched every time it was on HBO.
Not talking about a terrible movie. Talking about a transition from one movie to another.
Yeah. Talking
Oh,
about like
man.
notes from people in movies wanting that spider so bad. I still think my favorite all-time thing that anyone in a movie production has said to someone else was the exchange between Ben Affleck
Oh,
Michael Bay.
the Yankees
and
hat?
Michael Bay. Don't you
Oh,
think
no.
it would be simpler to say that we're teaching astronauts how to be drillers versus teaching drillers how to be astronauts? I make the movie, you started. Go fuck yourself.
Well, what's funny is so
Like,
many people
what?
talk about that commentary, but what a lot of people don't talk about is that throughout production of Armageddon, and I only know this because I'm a massive fan of Armageddon, Ben Affleck has talked about how like Michael Bay was like repeatedly telling him like, you're honestly not really that important to this movie. We might end up just cutting you out mostly. And then Titanic came out and they're like, hey, yeah, romance
About
amidst
that.
disaster is great. You got to make AJ and Gracie like more important in this. And that explains kind of why when Ben Affleck got an opportunity to just shit talk Michael Bay about the movie Armageddon, he took it because he literally spent most of the production being told how unimportant he was to that movie until the studio said, nah, his character's really important to this.
now hold on a second, because
What, Mike? You trying to fight me about Armageddon?
No, not that. Just that Affleck started not just one but two Michael Bay romance movies.
Yeah. Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor.
Which I like. I'll be honest. I'll be the lone person there. I like that movie.
It's
It's not
enjoyable for what
great,
it
but
is.
I like it.
I will say the Pearl Harbor scene is great.
Yeah.
It's powerful. No, it's powerful.
Look, again, it's one of those movies, and I've been wanting to make a video about it. And I've been playing around with the title, being something like it's okay to like a bad movie. Like, I recognize there are so many things wrong in that movie, but I own the 2-disc special edition of that movie. Like,
Yep.
I recognize its faults, but like, I don't know, man. Like Josh Hartnett kind of sucks in it, but Ben Affleck and Kate
no.
Beckinsale are great. Baldwin is really good in it. Like he's playing such a
absolutely.
stereotypical character,
Harold
but
Doolittle.
like he is fantastic in it.
Well, I think
As
he
Doolittle?
got based on the history with Doolittle. I think he did absolutely phenomenal
Yeah.
with how he did his homework on that. You could really tell as he performs that at the end of the movie. But anyway,
I'm sorry to take this over with my love for Ben Affleck films. Go on.
No, that's fine. I
that's your
just
go-to
found,
Dunkin order.
I just found it funny how like
that hurts.
like Michael Bay had was pretty much shit talking Ben Affleck during the production of Armageddon, only to bring him back for another movie.
Well, yeah, because Armageddon made a bunch of money, and by the time 2000, well, I guess they were doing 2000, Ben had become a base between Good Will Hunting, Chasing Amy, and Armageddon. Ben became a giant star. So it also was probably a studio fans were like, "Hey, you worked with Ben before," and Ben probably had reservations, but they also were like, "Here's a giant check, go star in this," and he was like, "Sure."
I guess that makes sense.
We never got a Ben Affleck commentary for Pearl Harbor, though, but maybe one day.
We already passed this 20th anniversary. We're gonna have to wait for like the 25th.
25th, yeah.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, Matt, what's your go-to order from Dunkin?
Honestly, it's a medium iced tea sweetened with the liquid sugar and a Boston cream donut.
There you go. Not too shabby.
Nothing made me more upset than seeing that commercial and being like, why couldn't I have lived in Boston? I would have lost my shit to have Ben Affleck serving me Dunkin.
Absolutely.
I don't drink coffee, but that makes me think of the Houseplant song by Audio Adrenaline. This is guy having a song about two houseplants and playing one Megadeth and one Beethoven and like how they reacted differently. And he's setting up on stage at the beginning of the song, and you just hear a guy in the back going, "Where's my skinny boy decaf latte, no foam?"
Well, Dunkin' for me, it's not Ben. I figure it's Casey Affleck, the SNL sketch, Dunkin' Donuts. That's one of my favorite SNL sketches ever. The very end where he's like, all my life, he's like, best part of my day is when I come to Dunkin's. That's sad. And the guy just walks out like, yes, it is. Very throws the coffee. Go back to Starbucks.
Oh man.
Me and my sister quote that to each other all the time because she loves Starbucks. It's all just constant to be like, go back to Starbucks.
Good God.
It all depends on what mood one is in during the day. The advantage to Dunkin' though, unlike Starbucks, you only have one. You got multiple flavors. It's only got.
I like how we can't talk about Dunkin' Donuts unless you're doing a bad Boston accent. The benefits about Dunkin'.
Look here, the benefits about Dunkin' is it's freaking fantastic. Okay. That's the benefits.
No, what I was going to say was
just turned into Robert De Niro all of a sudden.
You got bro? You talking to me? You trying to take my
Dunkin'
Dunkin' order?
Sometimes.
Could you buy me Dunkin' Donuts? I've got nipples, Greg.
I got nipples, Greg. Could you make me a cappuccino?
Could you milk me? No.
I'm could you make
but in all seriousness, I was going to say the advantage was they have more unsweetened flavor options, and at Starbucks you only get 2 sugar-free options.
Now he's just doing it for you, Brock.
I love it so much.
Me and my brother, we have this thing together to where, because we normally go to Dunkin', but every once in a while we're like, do you want to be bougie bitches? And that's our code that we're going to go to Starbucks. Which is more making fun of our sisters because growing up, they were very, Starbucks, they were very classic Long Island teenage girls going to their Starbucks. So that's why we always say you want to be bougie bitches.
Are you much of a coffee drinker, Kiana?
I worked at a Starbucks, so.
Boy.
I'm so sorry. We brought up some horror stories. We better just move on. That's why he's been so quiet. He's just been having the non-flashbacks of some woman with a dog and a purse just being like, excuse me,
I made some of my best friends work there, so we're all good.
Did you ever screw up someone's name purposely?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Nice. Where's a Big B when you need one? Then we can end Keanu's nightmare.
What's a Big B?
What's a Big B? Oh, it's a coffee chain in the Southeast. They've got locations in Florida, North Carolina, and you can get. I'll send you the link. What?
That's how he throws it in there. It's impressive.
The best part, you start the statements completely normal, then you just dip clean into it.
I don't work with them anymore, so we're good. No horror stories, really. No non-flashbacks.
Oh God!
Well, that's good.
Oh no, I was just
Family Guy character. Tommy, the mildly Bostonian man.
Bostonian. That had Tommy. I don't know what your Twitter bio is, but that's got to be added to it tonight.
Mildly Bostonian.
Mildly Bostonian. Okay. Noted. I'll say this, Brock. Big B has you can order. I don't know if you have a Keurig maker now, but they have some of their flavors that you can get at the very least. They also have a wonderful selection of teas, black tea, oolong tea, and a couple other ones. And you can order it. You can order it online if you don't have a store near you, and they can have it, and you can have it shipped to you. It's actually really, really fantastic.
I should try this because I have a Keurig at home.
Oh, excellent. Yeah,
remember when we talked about that?
I'll drop a link in the chat.
Myself, but I'll tell my roommate about it. It's great, and you want it when you got a big right by the harba.
Well, that's like I always love Kevin Smith, his impersonation of Diane Lane and was it Perfect Storm, her horrible Boston accent. The harbor, they're all gonna die. It's like, oh, Diane, stop.
That was
please.
on TV the other night, and I watched it. I watched it for the first
I've never
time.
seen it actually.
They promote it like it's the next best thing. I wouldn't go as far as call it Oscar bait, but they promoted this like it was going to be something phenomenal. Not that it was bad or anything, but when you watch it in comparison to what it potentially could have been, it felt like it missed the mark. And when I think back to seeing that poster and walking through my hometown theater of Willow Knolls 14 when I was growing up, and seeing this promotion and walking past theaters that were playing it, and now I'm watching it for the first time the other night. I'm watching. I'm thinking, okay, this isn't bad, but it's so.
I think it's probably
easy.
We were talking about with Pearl Harbor. I think it was probably because it was a movie with a very big cast and a post-Titanic,
I was just gonna bring that up,
disaster. They really pushed them. I have a bad experience because the day of a really bad storm on Long Island, Freeform decided to play The Perfect Storm, and I've never really forgiven Freeform for it. Like, I know you're a nationwide channel. That's fucked up. That seems targeted that you would play this of all days.
Coincidences can have the weirdest effects sometimes.
Yes. They can.
Yeah, because that was it's Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane. Who else?
Diane
is in
Lane.
it?
John C. Reilly was in it.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
And that's post bookie nights for both him and Wahlberg. So
what's the actor's name? No, it's gonna bother me. What was his name? He was in
Bob Gunton.
Yeah, him. He was in it too.
And Karen Allen.
Karen Allen's?
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, she was in it. Sherry Jones and
Mike, is this streaming anywhere? Because I feel like I should actually.
Oh yeah, no, it's streaming. It's streaming somewhere. It was a Wolfgang Peterson flick.
Yeah, probably watch this at some point.
Yeah, it's but that side plot with Karen Allen, Sherry Jones, and I can't think of the other actor's name. They were. That was like completely unnecessary.
I hate when Amazon does this. They're like, "Oh, we have it." Nah, but if you have AMC Plus on Amazon Prime, we got you.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that was the network it was on the other night. Was AMC.
Yeah, whatever. I'll just rent it from my library. You don't get your money from me, AMC Plus.
No, I was telling somebody the other day that all these good shows. I mean, sometimes they're just unwilling to pay for it, but like shows like talking about Perfect Storm or other shows like Torchwood Children of Earth and other recommendations that I've been.
There's just too many streaming services.
Yes, well, not just too many streaming services, but like if you want to watch this, pay this amount of money extra. It's just one of the ways they get to you, which it's a way to make money, but sometimes it's just not the way to go.
It's not. Like, where do I want to go if I want to watch Congo again?
Hey, Congo is great. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. I still really like that movie. And then also talking about Superman, I was like watching that movie. I'm like, why is that main guy look so familiar? I looked it up. He plays Sam Lane on Superman and Lois. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
that's the dude from Congo.
What? That was just the weirdest thing where I have the Mandela effect where I swear to God the monkeys picked the lasers up. Like they just had them. And then I watched it the other day. I was like, it never happens.
Stop eating my sesame cake.
If anybody needs a reason to know why movies speak to people in such unique different ways, why we love movies so much, just simply watch Siskel and Ebert's review of Congo, and you will see.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Have you ever seen their Lost
Oh my
World one,
God.
to where they get in the fight over how the dinosaur at the beginning should have been cute? Like, it's the strangest fight.
That's
but
a no.
Gene
That's
is
a that
so
that
adamant.
it's simple. The simplest of the simplest of differentiations, just in shock, awe, surprise, and casual banter between two movie lovers. It's just a solid reminder
Ernie
why we
Hudson
all love
is
the movies.
great throughout Congo, though. It's fantastic in that. And whatever, look, Tim Curry is just like, I don't know what that man is, but I love whatever he is.
There's nobody like Tim Curry.
He just
No.
goes for it, you know?
He
Like,
does
it doesn't
everything.
matter what. You give him the script, and he's like, all right,
Like,
this is
It's
what
like-
I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like an Elton John. It's like everybody's got that Elton John song that spoke to them. You know, it's like Tim Curry's the same way. Everybody's got that Tim Curry performance that they remember, that they grew up on.
It does,
Something
and
they
mine
perform.
is oh shoot.
You had it, then you lost it.
I did. It's just gone. It flew right out of there like a Dunkin out the window. It's Frick. Oh, it's the villain in Fern Gully. It just
Oh, yeah. It's like the small guy.
It's
like
toxic
Hextix?
something.
I can't remember, but the
I'll look it up.
song
I
when he
gotcha, I
sings
gotcha.
when he's becoming the goop coming out of the end loader, Hexus.
Oh, is that it?
Oh yeah,
Texas.
yeah. But
Yeah.
when he's evil, when he's coming out of the freaking end loader, I'm like, oh, it's so good. I even love him when he's the assistant to David Cross getting the people to the house in Scary Movie 2. He's in that movie.
And again, I really love actors like Tim Curry, who, like, look, I'm going to be real. My favorite Tim Curry performance is Home Alone 2. Like, everything he does in that movie is so perfect. Have a lovely day. What kind of morons? Well, no, that's the hourly, but where it's just like, oh, mom, there are hundreds of people out there. You won't be able to fight. And she just slaps it and goes, "It's cold. Wear a coat." He's just like trying not to cry. And of course, I love you.
Maybe I'm off my hinges,
Well, the best thing
but I
is
believe you.
Before that, it's when it's like you wait here, kissing Gimpy Mo or whatever, and Tim Curry does this thing to where he
Oh, with the
looks
gimpy
and he has
leg?
to like think.
Cheeks,
that's-
Bony Bob.
What is that character doing in his free time? Then he has to be like, was that here when I was doing that?
One of my when if you were growing up in my childhood home, you would have seen it was you open the door to the laundry room, and then this is the most unique place, and I can still see it to this day. We had our VHS collection right next to it, like in this wonderful line, right above. I don't know. I can't recall what exactly it was underneath, like the drawers or something. Anyway, and then looking to the left, we had it alphabetized, and then pulling out that VHS box of Muppet Treasure Island.
Yes.
Yes, that was something that always stuck out to me growing up among all of our VHS collections that we had. But being able to pull that out, stick that in the VHS, and watch it on that TV was wonderful. And you think back of, again, reasons why we love the movies and
and like something like that. I had when my surrogate dad the one I actually changed my last name for, used to live in town. He was my old youth pastor, and then he moved to be a college missionary because he actually got to do more work, like actually spending time with people. He was buried in paperwork being a youth pastor here. We went to finally go visit him the first time, and we were going in town doing some bargain shopping. We stopped at a pawn shop, and I hadn't seen a VHS tape in forever. And then we went to this pawn shop, and in the same shelf right next to each other was Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, the Digimon movie and the original Pokemon movie, and my inner child fucking exploded.
You better.
Please tell me you bought it.
Oh, I bought all of them. I'm like, thank you.
Let's
please."
go.
And ran to the checkout. I was like, how has no one picked these up?
No, Tommy, it's so true. Me and my friend Abe were talking about this, and we brought it up earlier. But like Batman and Robin, like that was a movie that I loved as a kid. I remember we talking about like a bargain store. We used to go on vacation to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, where I'm sure there were several Dunkins, and there was this sort of like chain bargain store, and we always used to go. And then this was the early aughts, so there were discount VHS tapes, and I loved Batman from like the animated series and Justice League and everything, but I'd never seen a Batman movie, and they had Batman and Robin, so I got it. For like the next year, like all of third grade, I watched Batman and Robin at least once a week. Like I loved that movie. And there's this crazy thing to where, doing what we do, you grow up and you start to get into, film criticism and you find, maybe YouTube movie critics or, someone like Collider Video from back in the day or Screen Trees or whatever. And you learn these movies that you loved are like these reviled, hated things. Like when I learned how many people hate with a passion Batman and Robin, which is this movie I still look on fondly. And look, I'll admit to you, there's a lot that doesn't work about it, but I still love that movie. But that's, and Mike, I think you saw my tweet last night where I said, like, never change your opinion to fit in with people. Like, love something you love, hate whatever you hate. Like, that to me is the worst thing as film fans. And I've seen it so often when people have these feelings, but they have to adjust them to try to fit in with other people. And it's like, why? Why hate on something that you love or pretend to love something that you hate? Like, just enjoy the content you want. Like, I still love Batman and Robin. I still own that VHS, and it's the only way I own Batman and Robin. And you know what? I'm never going to upgrade that VHS. That is the only way I will ever own and watch Batman and Robin, aside from maybe on Max, will be my VHS copy until it dies. And then you know what I'm going to do? Go to eBay or thrift store and buy another one.
You want to know what I wish I still had? And I this just popped into my brain. That when I was younger, I had a VHS copy of the smash action quality hit Simon Says, starring Dennis Rodman.
And oh no, that's Double Team was the one he did with Van Damme, right? Simon Says was the one he did after.
Yeah,
that's right.
I was like, and I like growing up in the 90s. If you watched basketball at all, you had a triple threat poster of Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan in your room somewhere. I always preferred Pippen, but then I'm watching this movie. I'm like, that's Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
What?
But the late part of the 90s was a strange thing because basketball was so huge that you saw guys like, obviously Michael Jordan, he only did Space Jam, and that was really just kind of a build off of the sort of Nike campaign that he did with the Looney Tunes. But like with guys like, we joked about Shaquille O'Neal playing Steel and Rodman doing double teams. So there was this weird thing to where it was like, you don't have to be a trained actor. You just have to be a really popular athlete. We'll throw you in these freaking movies.
This was before wrestlers became
The only one who there was, well, obviously there was Andre the Giant was in Princess Bride, but really the only one was Hulk Hogan. Did a couple of movies, but that's the same thing. It's just like when you're so famous because of this sport, we'll just build movies around you.
You get paid to say Dookie really weirdly.
Look, I know James Gunn came out and said that he thinks, Dave Bautista is the best wrestler turned actor, but like that's just because I think James Gunn's never seen the cinematic masterpiece of Mr. Nanny. Because if so, he would know Hulk Hogan is the greatest wrestler.
I agree.
I mean,
Suburban Commando, baby.
Dude, I'm sorry. HBO Kids, when I was little, that movie would be on at strange hours. So when you're sick, you put on HBO Kids because everything else is, that paid programming time. And you watch movies like Mr. Nanny or, it's a stupid movie, but it's so funny still to watch just Hulk Hogan. Oh my God. I was frozen today.
Yes.
I love that clip.
This is Afterburner where he's just like talking about aliens. It's like, well, what game do you think you're playing? It's Afterburner. You gotta get the Zork knots.
That's my favorite thing when they have video game playing in movie.
Oh,
They're clearly not moving the controller and talking about something that's not on screen.
Yeah,
They're either not moving it or they're moving it way too much.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always that's always the thing when you watch it's arcades. It's always like they're like it's always moving the joystick and like slamming the buttons.
Yes.
And it's like what game could you possibly be playing? The worst is the Bo Bridges in The Wizard when he's playing the NES and he's just doing it. Like at least Christian Slater when he's playing it kind of looks like he's actually playing, but like Bo Bridges is just doing this shit, and it's like no one does this when they're playing Ninja Turtles on NES.
Continuity errors at their absolute glorious.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
it's fun because in reality, Bo Bridges is looking at a blank television screen, and they're just like, "Oh, just pretend like you're playing a video game." And he probably has not played a video game since Pong, so he's like,
Christian Slater has one of, if not in my top 5 favorite lines in a movie ever, and it's from Broken Arrow.
Oh, I've never seen it. That's
Broken Arrow's fantastic.
Broken Arrow.
I've heard of that, and what is the one that Willis did with one of the Wayans brothers?
Oh, Not Hard to Kill. What the
it wasn't Cop Out. It wasn't
Cop Out. That's what he did with.
No, it's Tracy Morgan. I'm just saying, Broken Arrow. Those are 2 movies that I've been told. Oh, Last Boy Scout. That's it.
Yeah,
those are 2 that I've been told.
In Broken Arrow, you find out that Broken Arrow is the code for a stolen nuclear warhead.
Okay.
And,
As you do.
And there's a thing where he's like undoing something in a tunnel, and he's like, I don't know what's worse, the fact that nuclear warhead's missing, or the fact that it's happened so often that we have a code word for it.
Yeah.
It's a John Woo movie, if I remember.
I believe it is, and
Really?
I believe the
Where
track
the doves?
from I believe the track from Back Arrow that
Yes.
is in another movie.
It is. It is.
What is the other movie?
It was in like another show. God, I just watched it too.
It's such a recognizable track too, and
Wait,
I remember
wasn't it used in Scream 2?
maybe
Yes, it was
in
Scream
Broken
2.
Arrow,
Yes.
I was waiting to see if you would say it,
down.
Mike.
Oh,
Yes, it was Scream 2. I was like, wait a
So
minute,
good.
that's from Broken Arrow. What the fuck?
yeah,
What is
Broken
this
Arrow's
doing
fucking
here?
fantastic.
Wes, what are you
Dude,
doing?
there's that moment where Travolta in that movie, because he's the bad guy, right?
Yep.
And
Okay,
he, like,
I need to see
and
this
Bob
movie
Gunn
tonight.
again
It's
is in
so
that
good,
movie.
Fresh takes for Broken Arrow, Matt.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely,
Let's
absolutely.
podcast.
Let's do it.
Bob Gunn's in that movie, and Bob Gunn just keeps on like reminding like John Travolta that like this plan cannot go sour and all this stuff, and he just keeps complaining and bitching at him, and then John Travolta just chops him in the throat,
Oh
full
yeah.
on kills him, and then he's like, shut up, shut up.
I gotta be honest. I thought you
Awesome.
were saying Bob the Goon, like the actor from Batman '89.
No.
I was like,
No. I wish it was
really?
him.
He
That would
was
have been amazing. Bob Gunn.
I love
is
that
gonna be
actor. I
awesome.
love that he's just Jack Nicholson's like friend, and that's how he got in the movie. And he like talks about the documentary. He's like, they made a toy of Bob the Goon and had removable.
I
hat.
had that. I had the Bob toy.
Yes.
Bob the
Ew.
Goon.
He's
My
you
number
know who
one.
he is? You know who else that actor is? In
Bob
Silence of the Lambs,
Gunn.
he's the funeral home director in Silence of the Lambs.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
It's just crazy.
He
when
was
someone
like
pointed
the
that out to me.
voice of a character in Justice League also.
Oh, that's cool. I
Cartoon.
love when Justice League and Justice League Unlimited were really good at like and that whole sort of like early
Popping.
you know
people in
Timverse
roles.
like bringing back old like DC
Yeah.
like obviously
Yeah.
one of the most famous was Adam West as Grey Ghost. Like they did a really
Yes.
good job of like paying tribute to older DC stuff.
And
Yeah.
I think he was like in
Mark
the
Hamill
Eclipso
disaster.
episode or something. He was like Mo Fear or something was his name on that. He spoke about himself in the third person.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
I don't know what topic we started on.
Yeah, what did we start on? Where did this? Where
Mike,
has
this
it
is what
gone?
happens when you don't send us all the topics in the chat. This is what happens.
We got an
You know what?
hour
I'm
out of
just-
nothing.
Yep.
I'm just rolling with this.
That was fantastic.
Are we
This-
still on like the Superman casting? Like what?
No,
we
this
change
is
topics?
what happens when This is what happens when the captain doesn't go to Dunkin' to get his macchiato.
Exactly.
I don't know if anyone else noticed how many times Tommy threw in the Bostonian things when he was making his speeches. I picked up on it every single time.
Oh, it's you just I'm like, if I laugh, it's gonna stop it every time. And he's just flips. It's so natural.
As someone
you don't
who
even make a
comes
face
up
or
with
anything.
jokes on the spot on streams and just sticks with them until they're dead on the ground, I respect that, Tommy.
Jokes
do what
are
I
only
can.
funny when you burn them into the ground or explain them afterwards.
Dude, true story. So my cousin, he's 10. His older brother just graduated middle school, and they were having dinner at my parents' restaurant. And so I because it's like around the corner from my house, so I stopped in. And I was talking to him, and he is so funny. He's 10, but he's like, when I get a car, I'm gonna sell it for gas money. And we're all like, what? And he's like, no, you see, when I get a car, sell for gas money. And I said to him, I went, look, Jack Attack, because that's what nickname for him. I'm like, I gotta tell you from experience, the best jokes you tell are the ones you gotta explain. It's just, but it was
Indeed.
and I appreciate the conviction this kid had for this joke. He came up in his head. It's just like, I'm like, okay, I respect you.
We had the best part about this. It's one of my favorite Brian Regan things. And then my nephew did it to me the other day. He's like, hey, Uncle Brock, what? Why can't dinosaurs clap? Why, buddy? Because they're dead.
Nice.
That's a good one, actually.
That was fantastic. I'm like, where did you hear that? Oh, I was so happy. I was
Look,
like,
how
"You're gonna be a
how
good
old is
dad."
your nephew?
My nephew was like 7.
Okay, it's probably Fortnite. He's probably heard it.
But it was fantastic. But that's a Brian Regan joke where his kid is on the like monitor. He's like, Daddy, I have a joke for one of your shows. He's like, what's that, buddy? Why can't dinosaurs clap? Because they're dead.
I have a really bad joke that I can't say on air, but
You can
afterwards
type
I'll
it in the
tell you
private
guys.
chat.
No, it's one of those to where you have to hear it.
Oh, okay.
That's
Got it.
part of
Oh,
the
God.
delivery.
Got it.
Like you think of like you've got the whole list of like really quick jokes. You've got the dad joke category. You've got the trying. I mean,
You have the non-joke jokes.
Yes.
Mhm.
My
Exactly.
favorite
What's
of
brown
which
and
is
sticky? A stick.
why does Michael J. Fox make the best milkshakes?
Oh,
Because he buys the best ingredients.
No.
God damn it.
Why? What did you think I was going to say, Brock?
I can't imagine.
What did you think I was going
I'm
to
too
say?
shaken up to
Anyway.
respond.
That's why it's a
Anyway.
non-joke. And then
Yeah.
I always do that as a gigantic Michael J. Fox fan who hates when people like
Yes.
McFarlane make fun of that. I'm always just like, why? What did you think I was going to say?
Yeah.
How else would Michael make the best milkshakes?
Or you.
And then they
have-
always are just like, and I'm like, no, I'm just kidding.
You have the quick punchline jokes, like my favorite joke Ron White has ever told. I got kicked off the high school debate team for saying, yeah, well, fuck you. And he's like, that other kid was speechless. I thought I won.
it's like Preacher Lawson does. He's got this one shtick that he did. I don't know if he still does this joke or not. He opened for Mark Ellis several years ago when I was at Full Sail, and he said he did this knock knock joke, and he's like, "What, you're supposed to say that?" No, they goes knock knock, and we all go, "Who's there?" And he goes, "No one. I just got evicted." Like,
I can tell you what one of my favorite jokes to tell people is, do you guys know what the essence of all great comedy is?
what is it?
So anyway, moving on to our next topic. Unless Fiona, you have any video game news you want to?
Timing.
You're such a dingus.
So no joke. I did that at my old job when we were still in the office. I had a friend who worked in the same department as me, and I did that to her when because we would always have like morning, like a morning like discussion about like maybe new stuff around our site, stuff like this. And I said to her, I was like, "Hey Gianna, do you know what the essence of great comedy is?" She went, "No," and I just pretended like I was listening to the thing. And at the end of the discussion, I just screamed timing at her. Lost her mind. It was like, it's the essence of all great comedy. She's like, "You're a dick." I was like, "I know."
Okay, Kiona, there's one giant thing that happened in gaming news, but I don't want to talk about it because it's been all freaking week long. Is there anything else we'd like to talk about?
You know what? I think I'm good. I think
You're
I'm good. I think we've spent enough time with all the non.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's none. God damn it. Okay, one more joke. I swear to God. Okay, so there's these 3 kids that are standing in front of a mud puddle and they see a brick. They're like, you know what? I got an idea for competition. Well, next person buys a candy bar, see if we could throw that brick and get it stuck in the mud the fastest. First guy throws it up, goes a foot in. He's like, great. All right. So the next guy throws it up, gets 3 feet in. He's like, wow, it's really good. The next guy throws the brick up. Anyway, so the other joke that I like to tell is this woman is on an airplane and she has her parrot. And it's a no parrot allowed, no smoking allowed plane. And she's sitting around and this parrot is on her shoulder underneath her sweatshirt. And she's hiding it because she needs to transport it from another house to another. And then the pilot comes out puffing on a cigar. And he comes in and he's like, and he hears a parrot squawk at him. And he's like, was that a bird? And he flaps up. He's like, you can't have that fucking thing on here. What are you doing? She's like, you can't be smoking either. So she rips the cigar out of his mouth, opens the window. I know. Throws it clean out. And then the guy also grabs her bird and whips it clean out the window. And then the guy all huffed off, whatever. She goes cussing under her breath to the bathroom. He goes up to the captain's quarters. And all you hear is, and he turns and it's a parrot. And guess what it has in its mouth?
A cigar?
No, the brick.
Oh, I get it.
Nice.
That's good.
Sometimes it gets a laugh, sometimes it doesn't.
No, I gotcha. You got to pay attention to it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So SAG-AFTRA strikes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the deadline for their contract expires at midnight. I heard something earlier in the week that negotiations would extend for like another week. I don't know if that's still true, but if SAG does go on strike starting next month, which would be tomorrow, that would impact not just Comic-Con, and we'll get to that in a second, but that kind of impacts all of film junkets, red carpet events, everything. And also you can't shoot a movie or a TV show without actors.
That's right.
Something
Not
that
yet.
something that the
Jesus.
Directors Guild of America doesn't seem to understand, because
Is the NBA doing anything? I don't know, Brock. Maybe they'll go back to the 90s.
We'll see. Dennis is free. He'll go get Kim Jong-un to come with him.
Jesus.
Isn't that the one he's friends with from Korea?
Yep.
Or am I thinking of the wrong one?
Bro,
It might be that one.
can Steven Seagal be there too?
Oh
He'll bring Putin
He'll bring Putin.
because he's Russian, apparently.
Oh my good lord.
Oh, jeez.
Moving on.
But yeah.
I'm 100% Russian. Okay.
We really are looking at a summer of pretty much no major productions.
No.
This is going to be a big deal if it isn't already.
And people are still entering productions, acting like nothing's going to happen. Like,
Yeah,
Venom
like, I'm
3 is going into
reading-
production. I'm like, what is going on?
I'm honestly interested about what fall for television is going to be like.
Oh yeah.
Because if stuff is like in the middle of shooting their seasons, like they'll only have like a bit of the show started, like it's gonna be weird. I wonder if we're gonna just get another like CBS is like, hey, we're gonna start showing movies again just because it's cool, not because we don't really have it in content to suffice for 7 days of programming. Which I'm not opposed to. Because I love movies, but still, come on.
They may do with that.
Well, that's like Superman and Lois. Apparently, their next season is only going to be 10 episodes, I've heard.
And
Yeah,
they cut
and
almost
they've-
every single supporting character.
Well, here's my thing with that. I haven't heard any of the, unless I've missed it, I haven't heard any of the actors or anyone official from the show say it. I get that could just be me not reading the right things. I've seen some of the, but I hope that's not the case, particularly with how season 3 ended, because there's a lot of unanswered threads that need to be answered. You need those characters to do so, but okay. Yikes. That's still a great show. Hey, look, I brought it back to our first topic from an hour ago.
Nice callback.
Nice.
We have come full circle.
Like a donut, which you can get from Dunkin.
I swear this podcast is morphing further and further into trash taste, but for America.
Oh man.
Let's not glaze over it. Let's get back to our other topic. Anyway.
And anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the two biggest events that are going to be affected by the actor strike are the red carpet premieres for Barbie and Oppenheimer, and San Diego Comic-Con, because we've already heard that pretty much nobody is showing up. Marvel's not going to be there. Netflix won't be there. HBO's not going to be there.
So we should just cancel the whole thing, right? Because, the San Diego movie...
Yeah, no, the San Diego Multimedia Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, it's called Comic-Con? You could do comic stuff?
What's a comic?
I think it's one of those things that they...
Literature.
What's
They
literature?
used to sell those things at like grocery stores, but now you guys...
Is that like when I put subtitles on my movie?
Closed captioning.
No, for me and Mike were talking about this before when we were off air, and I said it's so funny to see how Comic-Con has really changed, because in '76, George Lucas and a small group of Lucasfilm members took Star Wars, like they showed like stills, a short video like at Comic-Con. So many people were like, why are you going to Comic-Con with this shit? Like, and now you flash forward 40 years and now it's like, we should just cancel it because all these big companies aren't going to be there. It's like, wow, how times change.
Yep.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate that Comic-Con will actually be about its namesake this year.
Yeah, crazy how that works.
Shame. Oh, no.
The horror.
The horror. We're all gonna die.
No, what I'm waiting for is a bunch of people just being just to be dicks, to walk in and go, oh, so these must be based on all those movies I've been watching.
Oh,
I bet there's going to be people like that.
that's gonna happen.
I would do it once for a joke, but there's gonna be generally
look, they do adapt movies into comics.
well,
and they're
yes,
great.
but
It is interesting. I do like how they were doing them for Star Wars for a while. They did like from Force Awakens to I want to say Solo. I'm not sure if they ever did a Rise of Skywalker one, but it's funny because like the reason why they used to do that was simply just because like home media like wasn't really a big thing, and even then it took like years for movies to wind up on VHS. So it was doing like a comic book adaptation of Star Trek for The Voyage Home was more so like if you were a fan of that movie once it was out of theaters, you could still kind of like rewatch in a way, like reading the comic adaptation. And also, if you're a fan of movies, get the comic book adaptations because they always, to come out certain group with the movie, they always had to use the shooting script. So you'll see stuff that gets deleted from the actual movie. It's interesting.
100%.
Like the Jabba the Hutt scene. The Jabba the Hutt scene's in the original Marvel Comics adaptation of, although Jabba the Hutt doesn't look anything like Jabba the Hutt because they had no clue what he was going to look like.
Yep.
The Batman 89 one, it has the punchline to a joke that has no punchline in the movie, which is, you remember when Vicky Vale's talking to the Joker and she's like, what do you want? He's like, my face on the $1 bill. At the end during the parade, all the money that Joker's throwing are fake bills with his face on it.
Yep.
And you see that in the comic that you don't see in the movie, so it's a payoff to something. So it's cool stuff like that. Also Batman Forever, if you're a fan of the Schumacher cut. A lot of stuff that is in the Schumacher cut is in the comic book adaptation, including the original opening with Two-Face and everything.
Yep.
So look up those adaptations. It's cool.
And if you're a Quentin Tarantino fan, there was a comic that Vertigo put out for Django Unchained.
That's just pictures of feet.
Oh my god! Why'd you have to do the man dirty like that? Hey, look,
I had to. Come on.
That man worked at a video store, and he now has gotten to a point in his career to where he could get Margot Robbie to just randomly take her shoes off in a movie theater, and she didn't say no. Okay, respect that. Okay,
I didn't say I didn't respect.
You just know the discussion where he was like, okay, so Margot, now you gotta take your shoes off and you're not wearing socks and you gotta put your feet up. She's like, why would I do that in movie theater? He's like, Sharon is doing it, not Margot. Just fucking do it. And everyone in the production's like, oh no, I really hope she doesn't. We don't need to hear Quentin lose his mind over this.
Listening to Jamie Foxx's impersonation of Quentin Tarantino losing his mind is the best.
I really love Quentin Tarantino. Like, he's a guy. That's why I like his podcast. I just like hearing the guy talk about movies. Honestly,
yeah, he's one of those guys that just genuinely loves.
He's a movie fan that became a filmmaker. It's like Kevin Smith. And it's funny because they're 92 for Reservoir Dogs, 94 for Clerks. Like, they both sort of came up at the same time, and it's like, yeah, we're both just movie fans, and we kind of just wrote and shot these movies, and now we have careers.
It was those two and Robert Rodriguez, and
Robert the three. They were like the Miramax guys who like really helped like jumpstart that company, and then in the early 90s.
And it's funny kind of seeing like where their careers ended up like 30 years later.
Yeah, because Tarantino still, I mean, he, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood still got nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Kevin Smith has built this like media empire because he got into podcasting. Almost really Robert Rodriguez just kind of quietly just walked away from, because he's not,
Well, just
which is fine. He's got a family, and I think he probably was like, I'm gonna focus on that, which is cool.
And
he made Spy Kids, so he improved my childhood greatly by making the Spy Kids trilogy.
Doesn't he actually own like El Rey Network, or he just had?
He did. Yep. Well, yeah.
So it's nice that all three of them are kind of they've like carved their own like unique identities.
Yeah, and their movies, I haven't had a chance to read it, but everyone, so many people I know who are film fans tell me that I need to read Rebel with a Film Camera, Robert Rodriguez's autobiography, because I've heard it's fantastic.
Yeah, I should probably check that out too.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Great stuff.
Going back to Comic-Con.
Yes.
Of all the big Hollywood studios that they mentioned were not going to be there, James Gunn hasn't really said anything. So do we think he's going to be there, or does it not matter if like the writer and actors strike?
I would say no, simply just because I feel like if you were going to go, that's where you reveal your new Superman and Lois.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like if you were planning on going, I would feel like that's, where you do the big reveal of like, and here's, Superman and Lois, and they pipe in the John Williams theme, and, the two of them walk out. It just makes sense. I'm not saying that they can't, but I just feel like, just given when Comic-Con is, it just feels odd that like this, big casting news, you wouldn't, wait.
And it's become the Super Bowl of conventions of this magnitude. Mm-hmm. So you want to, I don't know if they do a full panel per se, but like something along those lines of where, like you were saying, like that big reveal being the big takeaway, unless there's some.
Well, yeah, it's
anyone
like
revealed
Marvel when they revealed the Avengers cast and everything. That's I
Right.
think where you first learned that Jeremy Renner was going to be playing Hawkeye in it. And, I think that was where Mark Ruffalo as Hulk was revealed, was at their Comic-Con appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want to look up something really funny, watch the Expendables Comic-Con panel from like 2010 when Bruce Willis is drunk and shows up. And Stallone is just so, and he's just like, "This is a really great movie. Thank you for inviting." And he just walks away, and so just like, "There would be another Bruce Willis." Flash forward a couple of years, and he's like greedy and lazy. Talk about Expendables. I don't know what Expendables 4 is going to be. And look, guys, it's not hanging, but I own an Expendables 3 poster, so like I'm a genuine fan, okay? I don't know what's happening with this movie. Is it going to be a Comic-Con? That'd be cool.
No.
No?
Probably not.
No.
But
We should probably cancel if Expendables isn't going to be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're trying to tell me that Comic-Con is expendable?
Is Hall H going to be now? Honestly, asking just because I don't really know. Is Hall H going to be more for like DC and Marvel comics and like Boom and Image? Like, is it going to be more for them, or is Hall H just not happening?
Good question. I bet because Boom Studios has really exploded in like the last couple years, they might have a Hall H panel.
Boom Studios, are they, just because I'm kind of bad, are they the guys who do the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles comics?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I know they at least do Power Rangers.
They do a lot of licensed
IDW does Turtles.
They did.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you guys
IDW.
ever read the Justice League Power Ranger stuff, but
I haven't, but I've heard it's pretty good.
cool.
It was actually good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I rented it from my library. I was like, this is pretty awesome that they did this. And the nice thing is, what I like about that was that, and this is no fact because look, every generation has their Power Rangers, but I liked that it was like the OG Mighty Mar. Like it's not Rocky, and I like it's Tommy, it's Jason, it's it's the OG 6. I was like, it's awesome. It's also when Tommy was Green Ranger, because of course the Green Ranger and the White Ranger.
I wholly disagree.
Well, they're both cool, okay?
I was going to say, he got Sabo when he was the White Ranger.
Yeah, well, okay. Probably, as a Jason fan, I'm just a little annoyed because Zordon made Tommy the leader at that point. Kick Jason out, okay?
Well, that was happening. Well, when they didn't want to pay 3 of the main actors, just whoop!
Now, that was before that. That was later on. That was later on in the season, because this was early on when they introduced White Ranger, was when they were like, yeah, we're just going to leave. And they're like, fine.
All right. Okay.
We don't care. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Well, from what I
Which
hear,
that
they
was a
didn't
shame.
get
But yeah, Boom Studios. I like a lot of the stuff they've done. They're fun. So yeah, I hope they show new stuff. Cool if they have a new Power Rangers crossover. I would read it. I mean, they did the whole Shattered Grade thing, which was awesome. That whole storyline, Lord Dragon and everything, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was. I wouldn't mind them doing something for the White Dragon, considering that's going to be Jason's last thing if they did a comic run.
Well, that was Soul of the Dragon was a great graphic novel. I'm not sure if you guys have read it, but I really, if you're a Power Rangers fan, I recommend it. It's really cool. And I kept saying I would love to see like a series like with adult Tommy, but unfortunately, we're not going to get it now.
Yeah.
I am excited for Legend of the White Dragon, though. I am really excited for that.
It would be cool if eventually they did something with his daughter Jenna. That would be cool, but we'll see.
Just to give it, since we're talking about Legend of the White Dragon, just a shout out to a friend of my friends who runs a toy company called Valaverse. Their line Action Force is actually doing the figures for Legend of the White Dragon.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Nice.
So support an independent toy maker who's making some really cool figures.
Absolutely.
My friend Tony Roberts is an action figure desert rat, which is awesome. At Joe Fest last year, he was there. And it was like the funniest thing in the world to like see yourself as an action figure.
You know, I just realized something. This year, Comic-Con falls in the same weekend as the 1-2 punch of Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe that's why the shift canceled it.
So that's going to be a very interesting weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's nuts.
Brock is like, I was gonna go to Comic-Con, but now.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
come on, Barbie, let's go party. I mean,
Oh, well,
Exactly.
did you guys see
The greatest double
graph
feature.
they released to where it was like, which state is Barbie or Oppenheimer just based on like ticket sales or something? Me and Mike, New York, we're a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
I would be interested to see what the hell Wisconsin is, because that's.
Yeah, pull it up, Mike.
Yeah,
Because
hold on.
it's So
I'm
fact
grabbing-
somebody
I'm
did
grabbing the
this
chart.
is just the greatest
I
thing
would
in the
assume
world.
Oppenheimer because Wisconsinites love to blow things up. But, you know.
So I'm just assuming the movie all about that is gonna sell like.
They're just be like, I don't know about this Oppenheimer guy, but I love that he came up with that stuff that we.
That guy was in them Batman movies. Y'all gonna see that?
I heard they were going to release Oppenheimer in Japan twice.
What the hell, man?
I'm doing a stereotypical Wisconsin accent, okay?
No, it was just what you said.
I
No.
know.
Oh my god, what the hell, man?
It's just the environment I grew up in, man. Oh, yeah. So,
In the immortal writing of Aaron Sorkin, what's next?
what's next? Yes, exactly. Good,
Mike is the man with the list.
Yeah,
Twitter, oh, boy.
unfortunately, we are ending this one on sort of a downer. We found out this morning.
I'm a Barbie. All right.
Yes. So we found out this morning that Alan Arkin passed away at the age of 89. What sucks is that at first I thought this was like just one of those celebrity death hoax.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then, an hour later, Variety published like the actual article. I'm like, oh, okay, so he really is gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just going around, does everyone have a favorite Alan Arkin movie or performance?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was honestly like, I'm so bad with remembering actors and like parts at stuff when I'm asked on it, but like I really liked. Oh, I want to say it was a supporting role, unless I'm imagining it, in Edward Scissorhands.
I can't confirm or deny.
I have to look that up. But there is just shoot. And there's other ones. There are other ones that I know that I'm not thinking of.
While you're doing that, Brock, I'll just go ahead and say that I recall the thing, not necessarily performance specifically, but just the memories of the performer himself. Like when he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
That Academy Awards telecast itself was something that can live in the back of your mind. And then seeing him, it was on Christmas Day 2008. My family and I went to see Marley and Me, and his performance as the head of the paper that Owen Wilson worked for was, I mean, it wasn't like something that most people think of when they think of Alan Arkin per se, but just that performance alone on that particular day was just something that stood out to me from that memorable standpoint. And when I think back to someone like Alan Arkin, those are the things that live with me forever.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's the Rocketeer. I really love him in Rocketeer. He plays exactly what you need, but he's just this character who, like, you know he loves planes and he has spent his life around them and building them, and you really feel that. And just like the whole thing with Cliff, where he's like, stop using the thing, the government, like just give it back. But I also the first place I really remember him was the movie Get Smart with Steve Carell, where
Ooh.
he's the CIA. There are jokes about that he says, like there's a moment where Dwayne Johnson is one of the other operatives and he staples a paper to a guy's head, and he goes up to Dwayne Johnson. He's just like, I can tell what we don't do. Staple heads, staple papers to people's heads. That's CIA crap. And then near the end of the movie, him and Steve Carell have this driving sequence, and they burst through this like golf like kiosk thing, and there's this giant swordfish, and it's like this close. And Steve Carell is looking at these planes and everything because they're trying to get to the villain and everything. He's like, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" It pulls back down. Arkin's just like, unless you're thinking, holy shit, a swordfish almost went through my head. If so, the answer is yes. And also Argo. Like, I love him in Argo.
Yeah.
Argo,
What's the
fuck
other one?
yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Alan's great. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Santa Claus 3. I watch those movies every year, and he plays Scott Calvin's father-in-law.
Yes.
On
Argo was the
Father-in-Law
one-
Christmas.
Yes. Argo, I was correct. He wasn't Edward Scissorhands, but I also forgot one of my favorite films, and no one talks about enough, Gattaca.
Ooh.
Gattaca, yeah.
Ah, he's so good. Kiona?
For me, it's a movie from 1967 that he was in with Audrey Hepburn, and it was called Wait Until Dark.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Nice.
And she's a blind woman who gets basically like there's these three criminals that are looking for like a heroin stuffed like bag or toy or something, and they break into her apartment because they think that she has it. So, or they think that somebody actually like hid it there or something. So he plays like he's like the main crook in this. He's the main villain, and he is just like this guy that kind of like changes his personality and stuff like that. Like he really tries to fool her into thinking that he's one of the good guys at first, and then he's like one of the bad guys, and then he acts like he's three different people basically in the movie. So I actually really like his. I love his acting. I've always loved his acting. Very sad to hear that he passed. So rest in peace.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who was just like, he was just a great supporting actor. Like I know he definitely had main roles, but like he was, because there were some actors who kind
Great
of
delivery.
don't want to be supporting, lead roles or nothing. But it's like, really sometimes for as great as leads are, if they don't have good supporting actors behind them, like movies can fall apart. And he's just one of those, it's why I can't remember the last time I saw Get Smart, but I can't tell you most of her jokes, but I can tell you those two jokes I just recited here because he was so good at delivering them.
Yes. A very distinctive voice, a very distinctive presence, and a very distinctive delivery. So.
He also was one of those guys who just like in 1990 stopped aging, because I tell you, from Rocketeer to Argo, the man looked practically the same.
He after the Rocketeer, he like took on his final form.
Yes.
Yeah.
He shaved down the sides of his hair, and that was it.
Yep.
Do you guys remember? Do you remember this the movie Firewall with Harrison Ford, Paul Bettany?
Yes.
Yeah. He was in that too as like the bank manager.
Oh yes.
Yeah. He just had like he was just one of those guys where you knew if he was in a movie, if he was in a role, like everybody was safe.
Yeah, big or small,
just
like
carry
it was
the
always
scene,
going to be
Yeah.
For me, the first time I saw him was in Little Miss Sunshine, and
great film.
Yes.
I think my favorites, my favorite performance in a good movie is Argo, but my favorite in a bad movie is his appearance in Dumbo, the 2019 remake.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
Wow.
He's like he's just kind of perfect for the character that he's playing.
Nice. Yeah, that's like we normally hear these sort like it popped across my freaking feeds the other day of remembering Kevin Conroy passing. He was only in his mid 60s. And it's like seeing that he at least got to live like the age of 89.
Yeah.
He lived a good full life.
Mhm.
Indeed.
So it's not one of those gone too soon type of deals. Like he had a good life.
And in the
Mhm.
case of both him and Kevin, like, look at all these movies we still talked about. A lot of these movies, people are still going to be watching and talking about,
Mhm.
and that is that's in a way that's a beautiful thing about what actors are able to do is they're these time capsules of their lives that they're just able to keep, and they just get to it's like what Robbie Benson said in the Return to Hogwarts, which just brings so much more now to where it's just like, I'll be dead, but Hagrid's gonna go on,
Mhm.
like Alan Arkin and Argo is gonna go on. Like, you could still throw it on. He and John Goodman's chemistry with Ben Affleck is still gonna be there. It's wonderful because future film fans will be able to be like, oh, who is that guy? And then whatever IMDb is in like 2045, like they'll be able to search them up and find all the, like the Audrey Hepburn movie. They'll be able to discover that, and and all those great things.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
This is why I'll piggyback off you, Matt, by saying this is why IMDb is important. Why television networks like Turner Classic Movies are
Yes.
very important, so
Yes.
we can see the
Preservation.
work,
Absolutely.
the preservation and the work of these phenomenal performers, their craft, that they can stay alive and be celebrated for generations to come.
Film is not something that is just supposed to be for the few months that it's in a theater. It is. Look, we're in the middle of Disney and Warner Brothers 100th anniversaries,
Mhm.
and like, that's like you look at all these montages that either for the Oscars did and all of this, and you're just like, wow, like all these movies and this cool thing, and like, we're all film fans, and it's just like nothing's cooler than just like, I got a list of movies to rent, from the library. Nothing's cooler than finding an actor that you really like and just like going through their IMDb, and that can lead you to another actor or another filmmaker, and that's just like, that's why I agree, Tommy, that like IMDb is so important, because every single one of us, we literally did it during this stream, was just like, who is this actor? And that's all, because you're like, oh, and sometimes it'll just spark when you're watching a TV show. You're like, oh, they were in Batman Returns. I watched Batman Returns in a while. You watch a great movie that you love,
That's right.
or you find something new that you love.
That's like one of my favorite things where they're talking of like, what are these? Like, it's not an example, but like enough people that I tell that they don't believe me until they go and watch it. Like, one of the perfect example, I go and tell people, I'm like, yeah, remember that time that Sam Rockwell was in the TMNT movie? They're like, no, he wasn't. I'm like, yeah, he is. For 2 seconds, he's there. The guy who has regular menthol.
Regular
that's
or
him.
menthol?
That's him.
He's
like,
also at the end
what?
of the movie, because he's the one who
Yeah,
gives the
like the news
Eastman and
report.
Laird shout out.
Yeah. I'm just,
And it's like, hey guys, look, that movie, there's an Oscar winner in there. Which one is it?
yeah. And they're just like,
Splinter.
like 2 seconds, they are in that film. And then like on IMDb, you wouldn't, speaking again of Turtles and TMNT 2, you wouldn't know that Kevin Nash of all people is Super Shredder.
Yep.
It's just like, oh.
But yeah, I don't know, and I think that is the cool, the we're talking about legacy, like that is, it's an unfortunate byproduct, but it is a nice thing, is that like you can find these new movies. I'll be honest, one of my favorite films is Hunt for October. I saw that movie because so many people talked about it after Sean Connery passed away that I was like, oh, I've seen Patriot Games and Clear Presence Danger, but I've never really watched any of those other Jack Ryan movies. And now that is not just my favorite Jack Ryan movie. It's easily in my top 60. Like, I adore that movie, and I saw it because so many people were celebrating Sean Connery in it after his passing. So like, the Audrey Hepburn movie, give me the title again, because that sounds like a really like cool.
It's called Wait Until Dark.
Wait Until Dark. I'm adding it to my list.
It's actually really good. I like it. Coincidentally, also the voice of Alfred from the Batman animated series is in that.
Oh,
Oh, really?
What?
From Zimbalist Jr. Yeah, he's in that.
That's amazing.
Well, now you've told me that. Now when I watch this movie, I could be just thinking of him.
But he
as
doesn't
Alfred.
sound anything like Alfred.
Oh, well, yeah, probably. I'm thinking Audrey Hepburn's probably
because
way
that was
younger.
that was him doing the accent. But like, I mean,
true,
it's
Can you draw me a bath, Alfred? He just holds a paper with a bathtub. It was the
amazing.
Oh, God.
I love that. love the shit that Alfred gave him.
He's so
in that
good.
show. It was great.
Oh, it's a perfect just. Bruce, what are you doing?
Yeah.
My favorite
what good
is
are all these push-ups if you can't lift a bloody log?
I think my favorite is from Batman '89, where it's Michael Gough and Michael Keaton. It's just like this veil. There seems to be a beautiful sense of something that when she's around, and Michael Keaton is just like, "Why don't you marry her, Alfred?
Why don't you marry her?
Why don't you marry her?"
I love in
and the look Michael Gough gives him, like, "All right, little shit."
Yeah. Like
I love how in Zack Snyder's Justice League, like Wonder Woman's like, Alfred, do you want some tea? No, I'm good. But he's like telling
Jeremy
her how
Irons
to.
in BVS, that moment with the wine to where he's like, the next generation of Waynes are going to inherit an empty wine cellar.
Yes.
No, like they'll be a next generation of Waynes.
He was an inspired choice to be
Everyone
Alfred,
talks about every superhero from that. He is honestly in the top 3 of people I'm going to miss of all those castings.
Yes.
Same.
Him
and Affleck, their chemistry was
Lawrence
so good in
Fishburne
those
as Perry
movies.
White.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Crime
All those
Wave
side characters
in
are so
Gotham.
good.
In other news, water.
Another news. Water.
Nobody cares about Clark Kent versus the Bat. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and he said, what does he say about like going to the charity function? And then he's like, you must have a thing for nerds. He is fucking great.
Oh, he is,
so
yeah.
good.
And it's great in
love
the
Lawrence
like I
Fishburne.
love the scene between him and Lois and Man of Steel, to where it's like, he's been berating her, but then he's like, what would happen? People found out a guy like this.
He's like, apples don't cost a
existed.
nickel. You drop this thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that in BVS, to where he's just like, when the planet was opened, it's like, exactly. Nichols. Yeah, there's a lot
They've
of.
always had great Perry Whites.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Perry White,
because
Yeah.
Lane
the
Smithy
casting.
Lane
and
Smith, yeah, I was
Lois
about to
Clark
say.
is
Always
so
been great.
fantastic. His Elvis inception in that show is
Yeah.
great.
Lane
Yeah.
Smith will always be my Perry White.
Yeah,
That's one
he's
thing with
great.
those movies. In Superman movies, they never screwed up Perry White, in my opinion. And in all
He's
of
the
the movies,
fastest typist I've ever seen, Lois.
they've never screwed up an Alfred in any of the Batman movies.
Yeah,
either,
they've
in my
never
opinion.
screwed up Alfred ever.
Yeah,
They always get
Even
those
at
roles
Birds of
correct.
Prey, dude. Even at the
Yeah.
Birds of Prey show, the Alfred in that was great.
Like even
What
in
about
I-
Commissioner
I-
Gordon?
his
Gotham,
name.
that Alfred is fantastic.
Ian Abercrombie, he was great in that role. Like,
What about Commissioner Gordon? Has there really ever been like a bad?
No,
so.
their
Not at all.
roles have been lessened in some more than others, but there's never been a bad one.
because I love Pat Hingle, honestly.
Yeah, Pat
it
Hingle's
sucks
great.
that he really is only used in Batman, because returns to Batman and Robin, he's kind of just there. But he's
Yeah.
great, and if you hear Pat Hingle talk about it, I love that he, which is something they built upon in Batman Begins, where he, in the documentary, he talks about that. There's the picture Vicky finds of Bruce in the newspaper, like hugging the cop, and he said that Tim told him that was Commissioner Gordon, was that
Mhm.
cop. So there's this whole relationship that Bruce Wayne has, and again, they really built on that, which I love in Batman Begins and that whole trilogy. is that,
Exactly.
like,
And then you go
Gordon
and
was
get
the one
Gary
who was there
Oldman.
for Bruce in this really
Yeah.
difficult time. Although I will agree with Kevin Smith, it's a bit or Ralph Garman actually, it's a bit screwed up that in Dark Knight Rises he had to play Riddler with him. He could just be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. Thanks for all the help over the years, make me feel good." No, he had to be like, "Here, it could be anybody, somebody who put a coat around a child." And Ralph Garman does point out where he's
I
like,
loved that.
where Ralph Garman's just like, he was a cop in Gotham. You know how many parents get killed? You know how many coats he probably put on kids over the years? How was he just supposed to pick out Bruce Wayne from that?
The only one rich enough to be Batman now. Come on.
Yeah, all right, fine, Dave, fair enough.
How many rich
The best is when
young
the
kids.
Kevin Smith are going through. It's just like, I mean, there were girls I put coats on. You know what? I think Batman might be Mary Lou Retton, who I took to the senior prom. She had the same voice and everything. Thank you for the massage. It was very nice.
Good Lord. No, that was one. A lot of people did not like that. I absolutely freaking loved that line.
The
The coat
coat
around
line?
a young kid's shoulders.
Oh,
making
it's
sure the world had
just
to end.
Ralph Garman pointed. It's one of those things where like it's great. You're just not supposed to really dig into it.
It is,
Because
but
then
it's
you're
like
well, that is maybe
that
I
whole
should.
the weird part about that is like outside of a bunch of statistical plot holes that happened in that movie, that chunk is also right around where you also had, I don't know what happened with Marina Baccarin, but she just forgot how to act when Talia dies. Like, you were really good this whole movie. What just happened?
Wait, that wasn't Miranda Baccarin though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's Maria Cotillard.
Maria Cotillard. Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
those
yeah.
two screwed up. Sorry, Maria Cotillard. But yeah, she just forgot how to act. I don't know what happened. It just went poof, clean out the window.
I think my favorite thing is the Screen Junkies on this trailer points out that like half of that cast just the half the cast of Inception is
Pretty much.
there.
Pretty
Not
much.
far off.
Nolan made Inception like what 2010. It was like, hey, what do we just?
People like to give James Gunn a lot of crap about working with the same people. That was one of the ones where you're like,
yeah, it's literally like half of the cast of Inception is just in that movie, and you're like,
yeah.
I mean, why not?
Short of Elliot Page,
I mean, why
they
not?
pretty much had everyone.
but you're like, I mean, that's fine. They're great actors.
Only
I
one
don't
missing was
blame you.
Leonardo.
But
And
I
they-
think that's the thing. I think Nolan, a lot of times he doesn't reuse the same main actors. Like
Mhm.
since Interstellar, he
He likes
hasn't
to
done
mix
something
the
with
side
McConaughey, but side people like Anne Hathaway he used
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
he'll surround them with
Yeah, like
his
Killian
usual,
Murphy.
like
You
almost
know,
like a troop.
The usual subs.
you know, Tom
suspects.
Hardy pops up in Dunkirk again. You know, like the side people he uses again. Like
when the
Bale hasn't
actors
been
are that
something
good,
since Rises.
Yeah.
No, and they're great. Tom Hardy is my favorite part of Dunkirk, particularly his ending sequence. He's great in that.
Mhm.
And he's by himself for pretty much the entire thing, which is
Yep.
But I mean, just watch Warrior, and you know Tom Hardy is a great actor.
Or Locke. Speaking of Hardy performances
Oh,
by
yes.
himself,
I haven't
literally
seen
by
it.
himself.
I haven't
It's
seen it yet.
phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a
Wonderful.
great actor. He really is.
But yeah. If anyone else has got anything else, I got.
I mean, I will say for gaming stuff, if you haven't played Diablo 4, go play Diablo 4. If you haven't played Street Fighter 6, go play Street Fighter 6. And
Wait,
if
they
you
made
have
one
not
past
played
2?
what?
I said they made Street Fighter past 2?
Yes, they have.
Shit, I got a lot to catch up on.
It's
Yes,
a
you
shock.
do.
It's a shocker.
They
learned how to
made-
count. They learned how to
made-
count in the past 30 years.
They
Did you guys
made-
ever play Street Fighter in the movie, the arcade?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There
Yes,
is
yes, I
a
have.
website that
Yes.
is emulated, and I kid you not, it's one of my bookmarks because I'm a huge
Great.
Van Damme fan, and there's a way I can play Jean-Claude Van Damme in a video game.
Oh, but also
Except he's gonna be in Mortal Kombat 1.
You'll be able to in Mortal Kombat
Sure.
1.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Because originally, hold on, Matt, hold on. Do you know originally that Mortal Kombat was?
Oh,
supposed to
Mortal
be John
Kombat was
Crawford?
originally a Jean-Claude Van Damme game. hence
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
Johnny Cage
now
is an
they're
actor.
making a
Yes.
version of Johnny Cage where they make him have Jean-Claude Van Damme as the voice.
Oh yeah, and we say Mortal Kombat 1. It's actually Mortal Kombat 12. But they,
Okay.
it's a
I thought
soft
nothing could be
reboot
cooler than
into
Mortal
one.
Kombat 11 to where
Yeah.
you could play the actors from the movie for Johnny Cage, Sonya, and Raiden
Yeah, they
with the actors doing the voices because
Yep.
that is my Johnny Cage is
did.
my main, and to have that is awesome. Now you tell me Van
They
Damme
did
is
actually
in
do
it?
that.
Oh shit! Well, I'm buying it now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Buying it now.
Also, if you like Dead by, I know you're a Cage fan, you can now play just as Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight.
Really,
Literally just as Nicolas Cage.
man, I
The
gotta
best-
start getting into video games.
The
past,
best part
Super
was
Nintendo, don't I?
he gets announced and comes out on stage. I won't make this go too long. He comes out on stage and he goes, "I play a heightened version of the actor Nicolas Cage," and he laughs when he says heightened version of himself.
Heightened
He
version.
try-
I play a heightened version of myself. It's different than an unbearable weight of massive talent. It's
Yes, and
totally
he just-
different.
Because he laughs because he's like the crowd's obviously
The
like
crowd
a
totally
heightened
laughs
version
and
of
he
you.
laughs.
He's like, I know.
Nicolas Cage, like that man has just built a personality that I will watch him in anything now. I don't care what. Put him in something, I'm watching it. And I love now that people are just like, he doesn't even have to play a character. Just have him play himself, and he'll be good. Like, a Bear Movie Mass Talent, it was fine, but
he was great.
Was so good.
And one more that I neglected to mention. If you haven't played Final Fantasy 16, go play Final Fantasy 16.
It's really good.
Even though
There you go.
Even though it traumatized me last night with the sequence that I played, but it's okay.
There's a lot.
You don't sound okay.
There's a
You sound
lot.
like you're
I'm not okay, but it's okay.
A lot of stuff goes down.
It's the Michael Scott from the episode where he's on the swing. He's just like, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Hey Alexa, play "I'm Not Okay," I Promise by MCR.
Well, the only thing I will say, Brock, is have you played any of it yet?
I'm through the demo.
You're through the demo. Okay. Okay. So
demo.
I'll just say it has something to do with Benedicta.
Oh no!
You do realize now he's gonna just like blow through that game to get to whatever point this
is.
Because I love that character.
I do too. Benedicta's great. You get to see her get motorboated in the first 2 hours of that video game.
I'm sorry. And the name of this game.
And on that note, yeah, you do. Mature rated video game.
Was perfect.
I love it though. I love this game.
Can Van Damme be in that one too?
The best part about the best part about that is everyone's like, this game's not Final Fantasy 16. It's not this, that, and the other thing. It's like, why? Because it's not turn-based, and also they have sex in it, and I can't be okay with that.
Oh, it's turn-based. It's just turn-on base.
There's this great YouTuber, Maximilian dude, that I love. He covers fighting games a lot. And like, there's this great feature in Final Fantasy 16 where if they like mention this happened at the Battle of Pipita and you hit the touchpad, it'll bring up a lore dump so that you're not like lost. So they're like, if you want to learn more, you can. Then they have this scene where Benedicta and another character get picked up in a hallway and he just slams her up against the wall. And, said motorboating starts existing and he starts hitting the pad. Nope, no lore dump on motorboat. How am I supposed to understand what is going on in the video game if you're not going to tell me what they're doing?
You hit that button and all it says in just giant letters is no kink shaming.
Or it's just all it says, all in the giant text that goes.
No. You hit the giant text and it just says, "You nerd, why are you reading? Do you realize what's going on?"
There's a beautiful woman in front of you. And you know what? Given time and acceptance, Yoshi P probably would have put that in there.
What would have been better is if they actually did have text and it was just like the paragraph change and just gets to the end and we're like, if you got this far in reading this, congratulations.
It pulls a Stanley Parable and just keeps talking to you. Or it's just a picture of a motorboat.
It's like alt text.
Like
check, please.
You click on it and it goes, "We're sorry, we're distracted right now."
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm good. I'm spent.
Well, guys, this was a fun 2.5 hours. I'm glad that we got to do this and that the rails were basically taken off.
We never had it.
Well, Mike, this learns you gotta send us the full topics in the chat, or else this is what you get. It's your own fault.
No, it's all went according to plan.
It did.
Yes. You just wanted multiple Dunkin' Donuts references.
Like to thank both Duncan and Bigby for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes. I wish. Duncan, we will do all the bad Bostonian accents you want if I could get a sponsorship.
The harba, they're all gonna die.
You know what? You could throw me off of a harba and cement Dunkin' Donuts by Ben Affleck if you would so choose. That'd be the most Bostonian gangster way to die ever.
Dressed as the Cape Crusader.
No, dressed as Ben Affleck from Phantoms. Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
I love at Kevin Smith when he got his star, and someone said that, and he literally went, "I've had it with this Phantom shit."
Love it.
All
right, let's get on out of here.
Yes, please.
Tommy, where can everyone find you online?
Twitter at T_Hughes35, Instagram the T-Money35, Snapchat the T-Money35, Linktree the T-Money35, and let's see what else what do I got going on here. I've got 2 feature stories for the My Paper publication that'll be released sometime next month's issue. They'll be focusing on Denville Community Media and NASCAR driver Stephen Malozzi. So be sure to check that out on My Paper Online and their local publications if you live in the state of New Jersey. And in the state of Connecticut, I will be in 2 shows this upcoming month. One is called Best of Broadway. That'll be for the Theater Guild of Berlin. And the second one will be Actors on Arbor. That will be for White Rabbit Theater. And that'll be in either Manchester or Glastonbury. I have to double check. But if you, either way, if you're in the area, come see me perform the show and enjoy yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a wonderful celebration of the craft of music. It's going to be wonderful.
Awesome. Matt, where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew. You can also find me in 2 places on YouTube. One, Matt Movie 611. That's my own channel. It's kind of my dumping ground. I do a lot of different things on there, but I also work with the YouTube channel Take 3 Productions, to where I run 2 shows. One, the Fandom Podcast, which is where me and a guest take one topic, and we kind of just talk about all the reasons why we love whatever that topic is. The second show I run is a video essay series called Second Look, to where I take a movie that I love that I think is either overhated or under talked about, and I explain to you the reasons why I love it, and hopefully you give it a second look. And then I also do my near weekly live stream podcast, which is Simple Tricks and Nonsense from Abe Flores, where we're 2 old friends. We hit go live and we just see what happens. We've been getting into tier lists lately, so we kind of get somewhere, but there's times to where we just one of us will say something and we'll just go off on a tangent, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. And tomorrow you can catch me and Mike and our other friend Malcolm, where we're going to be doing a live spoiler talk on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. That's going to be on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Take 3.
Yep. Excited for that. Kiona, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Neoplasmics24. That's NEOPLASMIC24. And you can also find me at renegadepopculture.com.
And Brock, where can everyone find you?
Down by the harba. No, you can find me on...
You son of a bitch.
He's like, I didn't say any during my outro.
I had to. But you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, mainly on Twitch and YouTube. Anyone who is listening to this, if you were a fan of the Marvel Spider-Man game, I'm going to be giving away a digital deluxe copy on the midnight stream on October 20th. All you have to do is be watching and be subscribed. $5 to win something that's worth $80. It's a pretty good deal. And then you find me doing a lot of stuff with any random assortment of people on a YouTube channel. Look forward to, I'm not joking, we are going to do a fresh takes on freaking Broken Arrow, because I love that damn movie. So at some point that will happen.
I'm marking that on my calendar now.
Yes.
But you guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You can escape, so do we. And now, this podcast is zeroing out.
The harba.